Anderson is a huge legend in this sport. He's done a lot. He's reigned for so long. He had a crazy streak coming in the UFC of defending his belt without losing. And I'm just looking to cement my legacy and make my name amongst the greats.
Tô muito feliz de estar lutando aqui em Nova York, tô muito contente e sempre foi um sonho lutar aqui em Nova York e estar aqui essa noite com esse público maravilhoso é sensacional.
I want the best Holly Holm possible. I want nothing less but the best Holly Holm. I want to know that I defeated the best fighter.
To have a belt at 2 different weight classes it's something no female has done, and I'm that person that always wants to do something nobody's done before, so it gives me motivation to want to walk away with the victory.
Well, the MMA Leaders New York Takeover continues tonight. It is the first pay-per-view of 2017, and for the first time, the UFC hits Brooklyn, New York. We are live inside a sold-out Barclays Center in Brooklyn. This is UFC 208, Holm versus Randamie. Brought to you by Halo Wars 2, available February 21st on Xbox One and Windows 10. Get the Ultimate Edition and play 4 days early. Closed captioning is brought to you by the hilarious new comedy Fist Fight, starring Ice Cube and Charlie Day, in theaters February 17th. Tonight's SAP is brought to you by UFCEspanol.com. Tonight's broadcast is available in 100% Spanish. And with that, thank you so much for being with us. This is UFC 208. I'm John Anik. You know, it's hard to believe it's been less than 4 years since the UFC first introduced a women's division. Now it's hard to imagine a UFC world without them. So perhaps fittingly, for the first pay-per-view of the new year, we showcase the women once again, and tonight, a massive opportunity for Holly Holm and Germaine Randamie as we crown the first UFC Women's Featherweight Champion. An honor tonight to share this space with Joe Rogan and the UFC Light Heavyweight Champion Daniel Cormier. Holm Randamie under the lights here for the Featherweight title tonight.
It really is incredible what you highlighted, the amount of evolution that's taken place in women's MMA over a short period of time. If you build it, they will come. And now we have a 145-pound division and a really exciting title fight between two of the most decorated strikers to ever compete in MMA, period. You have Holly Holm, who is an 18-time world boxing champion, former UFC Bantamweight champion, of course, with that stunning knockout defeat of Ronda Rousey in Australia. She's a spectacular striker, but she's got her hands full tonight, DC.
Yes, she does. I spent 2 years at the American Kickboxing Academy with Germaine Randamie. If anybody can match Holly's accomplishments outside of mixed martial arts, it's this young lady. She's very powerful. She's very aggressive. I like to say that tonight we are fighting for the greatest female combat sports athlete of all time. UFC champion in Muay Thai boxing. Nobody's accomplished what these two young women have accomplished in their respective careers.
All right, that's not all tonight. The co-main event features a man by the name of Anderson Silva. Joe Rogan, you've called the bulk of his UFC fights. Still going strong here tonight. He draws fellow middleweight contender Derek Brunson.
In my opinion, Anderson Silva's the greatest mixed martial arts fighter who's ever done it. And it's always a pleasure to get to watch him compete. When you look at some of the spectacular performances that this man has had inside the octagon, one by submission, one by knockout, faced everyone in his division and dominated it for years. And many times looked like he was fighting in the Matrix. But he has a young, hungry challenger in front of him tonight.
Man, Derek Brunson is an all-American wrestler, but he's a guy that has developed knockout power. He can put some of the best strikers out, but if he needs to, he can actually go back to that high-level wrestling. Even in Anderson Silva's prime, Derek Brunson was a guy that would give him issues because of that background. But if Derek hangs that chin up in the air, Anderson is a sniper, and he will put him out.
But Derek Brunson with an opportunity to change his life. Same can be said for Holm and Randamie and so many fighters you will see tonight. A lot of live action coming up. The rest of the card is brought to you by the hilarious new comedy Fist Fight, starring Ice Cube and Charlie Day, in theaters February 17th. Fighting out of Danbury, Connecticut, the light heavyweight contender Glover Teixeira. The now 37-year-old has finished 12 of his last 13 wins. He still has visions of a second world title shot. To preserve that aspiration, though, he'll have to get past Alaskan upstart Jared Cannonier, a former heavyweight who can immediately vault into contention with the upset win tonight. Already in contention, Jacare Souza. Another finish tonight could punch Jacare's ticket to that elusive first UFC title shot. Standing in his way, Tim Boetsch for his 21st UFC appearance. A state of Mainer with a penchant for producing the improbable. Boetsch will try to do it again as heavy underdog tonight. All right, coming up next, a couple of roster staples. Dustin Poirier has won 4 of 5 since moving back up to lightweight. Poirier draws New Jersey's Jim Miller. He'll be looking to take Poirier's place in the top 10 with a 4th straight W here tonight. The rules of the Octagon are brought to you by Ultimate Beastmaster, where tapping out isn't an option. February 24th, only on Netflix. 3 judges score the bout. The bout duration is 3 5-minute rounds. For championship fights and all main events, we go 5 5-minute rounds. A 10-point must-scoring system is in effect. The round winner gets 10 points, his or her opponent 9 or fewer, and scoring is based on effective striking and grappling, followed by aggression, and then octagon control in that order. Also, the Association of Boxing Commissions has made some changes to the unified rules of MMA for 2017. They have redefined what constitutes a grounded opponent, so a single hand down now is considered a standing fighter. Also of note, a fighter extending his or her arm with an open hand and the fingers outstretched towards the opponent is now in violation. Also, guys, when it comes to scoring, some clarification as to what constitutes a 10-8 round for judges. So a 10-8 does not require, as some believe, a fighter to dominate their opponent for 5 minutes of a round. All you have to do is win the round by a large margin. So 10-9s are supposed to be reserved for close rounds. DC seems the goal ultimately is to have the judges be more liberal when it comes to doling out 10-8s.
Yeah, and we've seen it already twice tonight. In the Ryan LaFleur fight, we saw 1 10-8 round on the scorecards, and in the Islam Makhachev fight, we saw 2 10-8 rounds. So already you are starting to see the judges be a little more liberal with those 10-8 rounds. Makhachev had 2 scores of 30-25 in that fight. So very good to see that they are taking these rules and actually using them and putting them into effect right away.
All right, as we get ready for our first fight here on pay-per-view, we get to the lightweight rankings brought to you by Ultimate Beastmaster, where tapping out isn't an option. February 24th, only on Netflix. So here's Dustin Poirier, number 10 in the world. Big opportunity for the veteran Jim Miller, Joe, to vault right back into the rankings where he was before.
Yeah, it's a tremendous opportunity for Jim Miller. And Dustin Poirier, incredibly talented fighter, and man, what a murderer's throw 155 pounds is. Now you have Khabib Nurmagomedov, who's about to face Tony Ferguson in a very, very intriguing fight. Of course, the former champion Rafael dos Anjos is still in the mix. Edson Barboza, one of the most talented kickers in the world today. Nate Diaz, of course, one of the best in MMA. I mean, what an amazing division right now with Conor McGregor at the top.
And as usual, no margin for error at 155 pounds. Poirier entrenched at number 10 for Jim Miller tonight. UFC appearance number 26. Well, Well, Dustin Poirier and Jim Miller have combined to produce 5 big wins a year ago. Now with their sights set on contention, they try to kick off their 2017 campaign in style here in Brooklyn. With their aggressive styles and an undeniable will to win, the matchup between Dustin Poirier and Jim Miller has always been on the must-see list of UFC fans. Tonight they get their wish as these lightweight veterans finally meet in a fight that is likely to produce some bonus money by night's end.
Me and Jim both walk forward, throw big shots, trying to finish our opponent. Fans are in for a treat.
Tonight's fight is going to be very high-paced. I'm going to go in there very aggressively and get in his face right in the beginning, meet him in the center of the octagon. And, I don't expect him to be standing by the end of the fight.
Making the short trip from New Jersey to Brooklyn, Jim Miller arrives at Barclays Center on one of the best runs of his career. He's won 3 straight over Takanori Gomi, Joe Lozon, and Thiago Alves, thrusting him right back into the mix in a crowded and talent-rich 155-pound division.
With my recent wins in the UFC, I've kind of shown that I'm back and fighting the way that I had been in about 2014. And I'm gonna put an exclamation point on it tonight and beat Dustin in devastating fashion.
Since returning to lightweight in 2015, former featherweight contender Dustin Poirier has been a force to be reckoned with. He's turned back the likes of Yancy Medeiros, Joe Duffy, and Bobby Green with a mix of speed and power, and his loyal fan base is chomping at the bit to see what the next chapter holds for the Diamond.
I'm excited to fight Jim Miller. He's a fun fighter to watch. He's been in a lot of fight of the nights. It's going to be exciting for the fans.
With his trademark walkout music, here is the 33-year-old father of 4, Jim Miller, making the walk for his 26th UFC appearance. Now, he fought Diego Sanchez last March, contemplated retirement after being diagnosed with Lyme disease, but went on medication, was feeling better, and then closed out the year with 3 big wins to set up this showcase against the top 10 opponent, Dustin Poirier.
Yeah, he's been pretty vocal about the Lyme disease lately, and it's a very, very significant issue for people that have had it. They know. I mean, it's really some scary stuff. You get bit by a tick, and then for the rest of your life, you have achy joints, and he's had a problem even getting out of bed. But the medication has made a big impact on him. He's on it now, and it's really helped him with his training, and looked really good in his last outing against Thiago Alves, and before that was in a war with Joe Lozon.
You know, Jim Miller actually said he enjoys watching Dustin fight. So he said, I like watching him fight. That makes him somebody I want to fight. Right. He wants to scrap against Dustin Poirier because he said, I believe he's a very tough kid and he always brings a fight.
Well, and I know our longtime matchmaker Joe Silva watching tonight, he could always count on Jim Miller no matter who he proposed. The answer was always yes. This will be the 5th fight in 11 months for Jim Miller. He's got mouths to feed. Tonight tries to make it 4 straight wins. Born in Lafayette, Louisiana, D.C., here is the number 10 ranked UFC lightweight contender Dustin Poirier, also long on high-level experience tonight, making UFC appearance number 17.
Yeah, man, you know, this is a guy from my hometown. And earlier in the week, he said, I'm the king of Lafayette. He goes, DC might have the UFC title, but I got the title of king of Lafayette. Well, Dustin, I'm here to confirm that. Yes, he is the king of Lafayette. They love the kid down there, man. But he's everything that our city is about. He's a hard-nosed kid, a fighter to the core, a guy that just loves to go in there and knock people out. Now, he said there have been changes after the fight against Johnson. He goes, I can't go in there and just swing until somebody falls down. He said tonight you will see him take more angles, and he will be a much better fighter tonight because of the adjustments that he's made.
Well, he looked fantastic before that Michael Johnson fight and making that move up to 155 pounds. Had some great performances, especially when he knocked out Bobby Green, beat Joe Duffy, who's a really promising up-and-coming contender. But in the Michael Johnson fight, there was so much emotions involved in that fight. Those guys had had done a lot of trash talking. There was a lot of craziness there. So that was a fight where it was very tense, and that could have led to his decision to just throw all the cards out on the table and brawl, which I don't think is a smart move.
No, it's not. In the Bobby Green fight that you talked about, you saw him taking those small angles, and because of his high-level striking and his big power, he was able to put out a guy in Bobby Green that people don't finish. So Dustin Poirier is a special fighter.
And comes in tonight having done the least amount of sparring he has done in his career, once a week before upticking it late in training camp. All right, this Tale to Tape is brought to you by Ultimate Beastmaster, where tapping out isn't an option. February 24th, only on Netflix. Dustin Poirier turned 28 back on January 19th. Jim Miller still going strong at 33. Poirier is 1 inch taller. 155 pounds for Poirier, 154.5 for Jim Miller. Slight reach advantage for Dustin Poirier. All right, now for the official introductions inside the octagon to Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York for UFC 208, Holm versus Randamie, presented by Halo Wars 2, available February 21st on Xbox One and Windows 10. Get the unlimited edition and play 4 days early. And now, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC lightweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist, holding professional record, 28 wins, 8 losses, 1 no contest. He stands 5 feet 8 inches tall, weighing in at 154.5 pounds. Fighting out of Sparta, New Jersey, Jim Miller! And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a Jiu-Jitsu fighter, holding professional record, 20 wins, 5 losses. He stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing in at 155 pounds. Fighting out of Coconut Creek, Florida, by way of Lafayette, Louisiana, presenting the number 10 ranked lightweight contender in the world, Dustin the Diamond Poirier. And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Todd Anderson.
The veteran Todd Anderson, our referee for this one. Chrissy Blair is with us. Thank you, Chrissy. Just about ready to go here, and fans at home, stay ready on Twitter tonight. We will have voting polls throughout the pay-per-view main card at UFC if you are somehow not following already. All right, round 1 here, Dustin Poirier and Jim Miller. Poirier in blue, Miller is in black. Southpaw versus Southpaw here.
You know, Jim Miller has been in a lot of wars over the course of his career, and he can actually draw you into that firefight. Let's see how long Dustin can actually stick to what he's saying and trying to fight within himself a little bit. 2 good leg kicks at the start of the fight by Poirier.
Yeah, Jim Miller really does seem to thrive on wars and often finds himself in them, and with fighters that aren't ordinarily in wars. Right. It's his style of blood and guts fighting, and is a beautiful right hook leg kick combination by Jim.
There are times when you watch Jim Miller strike and you think his entire life he's been a striker. But this guy did wrestle in college, you know, so it's like he's such an evolved fighter, you know, a long-time veteran of the sport.
Another beautiful leg kick by Poirier. Nice double jab there by Poirier as well.
Jim's done that a few times now. He's thrown that right hook up top and then went straight left to the body, which again is one of those things. It's an investment in later in the fight, hoping that the body damage actually takes a toll as the fight progresses.
Another strong leg kick by Miller as well. Poirier's got some long punches, DC.
Yeah, he does, and he throws them nice and straight. You know, you don't have many wasted actions when he's throwing his punches. He doesn't tend to loop them very often. They're all straight, and there you go. You see Miller with the takedown. Nice defense by Poirier.
Beautiful defense by Poirier. And a nice uppercut as well. Good body shots by Poirier. And he's got Miller pressed up against the cage here.
There you go by Miller. Knees to the body. Now, one of the things you do when you're pushing the guy against the fence is you cannot give him that much real estate to knee. You cannot be square. You have to get a knee inside as it closes up that angle for him to actually get those knees off on you.
Woo! Good left uppercut and another right hand by Poirier.
Look at Miller answer though. Both of those guys are throwing leather now.
Halo Wars 2 available February 21st on Xbox One and Windows 10. Get the Ultimate Edition and play 4 days early. We have crossed the midpoint here of round 1. 5 of Poirier's last 6 fights have ended in round 1. He has finished 8 of his last 9 UFC wins.
Again with that combination. Hook to the right to the body. Or left to the body.
Counter left is there for Miller.
Nice combination into the body by Miller.
Nice jab by Poirier. Miller's now starting to pick up the pace a little bit.
Poirier just out of range with the right hand. Miller with the right hand counter.
Other than that one takedown attempt, there's a beautiful left hand over the top by Poirier. Other than that one takedown attempt by Miller, this is a stand-up brawl right now.
Yep, and both are throwing.
Poirier actually initially sought out to become a boxer when he realized he could get MMA training in his hometown. The rest is history. Catches the leg there and clips Miller with a right hand.
But then Miller takes him down. Beautiful job by Miller. What? Look the speed he took that back.
Gotta be careful here with Poirier.
But he's very strong. Very strong with the back mount. Black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And he's got some very good submission victories, especially the one against Charles Oliveira.
Over high-level guys.
Yeah.
Poirier needs to fight that top hand. He's got to fight that top hand. There you go. Now he turned back into Miller.
And we'll see if Poirier chooses to hang around on the ground. Looks like he will.
Miller very good off of his back as well. Submitted Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt Fabricio Camões from his back. Look at that Poirier with a beautiful combination.
Oh.
Miller returns. Oh! They're going after it here.
That's what we talked about. How long? How long could Dustin Poirier fight the urge? Him and Jim Miller to actually do that? How long?
Jim Miller creates brawls, man. He creates brawls.
This corner cam is brought to you by Halo Wars 2, available February 21st on Xbox One and Windows 10. Get the Ultimate Edition and play 4 days early.
What did he just yell at you, DC?
I wasn't paying attention, man, but I'm saying how long can he fight the urge to do that? Both of them.
I think he said I'm the king of Lafayette. I think that's what he just said.
I already gave it up. He just hasn't watched the fight yet. He said it again.
Yeah.
He's rubbing it in.
Let's take a look at it here. He's going to say it again. Look at this. Beautiful combination. I mean, they were going after it here. These guys, I mean, this is just absolutely what he said he wasn't going to do.
Yeah, exactly. And in here, he lands a good left hook on Miller. Well, Miller's standing there. Jim Miller is comfortable in here, as is Dustin Poirier.
Oh, Miller loves it. Poirier loves it, even though he said he wasn't going to do it.
And it's fun for us to watch.
You couldn't find a single interview of Dustin Poirier during Fight Week in which he didn't say the words defensively responsible. Throwing caution to the wind there late in round 1. Here is round 2 now with Poirier in blue, Jim Miller in black.
Well, he didn't get clipped or dropped, so it wasn't too irresponsible.
There you go.
I'm trying to look at the bright side.
I hear you.
It was a very close round. That first round was a very close round.
Yeah, it certainly was. I think if I had to look at it objectively, Poirier might have landed the harder shots. There's a big red mark on the left knee of Jim Miller. And you see there, Poirier with 22 headshots to Miller's 13.
We call that Matt Bird, Joe.
Oh, beautiful kick there.
That big burn on his leg is from when he got that low single shot and he had to drive into Dustin on his knees. Good straight left hand by Poirier.
He tore it up with that.
Ooh, nice counter right hand. Nice counter left by Miller.
Yeah, Miller's starting to find his range here early round 2. Miller's hands look quick tonight on that counter. Poirier
Nice
lands to
counter
the
right
body.
there by Miller. Oh, beautiful leg kick again. And Poirier tried immediately to counter, like you said, to bring it back. Straight left.
Yeah, they're back at it.
Miller's wobbly. He's wobbly. And he grabs the single.
Defensive shot by Miller. Watch the guillotine choke by Poirier. Look at him.
Oh, he's got the neck.
Yep.
Oh, big
Nice.
right hand by Poirier.
Big shot.
And Miller trying to return with that knee.
Dustin's trying to get some space to get the shots off. Miller's trying to keep him close. You see the little angles. He hits him, then he steps back a little bit. Miller needs to slow him down.
Poirier splits the guard with that straight right.
And Miller lands a left hand over the top there, but Poirier with a beautiful right jab and then a nice short right hook.
Another straight right hand. Body shot would be good here. Both of these guys, they're anticipating headshots now.
That's a very good point. Very good point there, DC.
They're headhunting.
Oh, man, Poirier pouring it on. Oh, that was a hard right hook. And Miller comes back with one of his own.
Wow, what action here, round 2.
This is the fight. Look at the angle.
Oh,
You see the
beautiful
little bit
left
step
hand
back
there
there.
by Poirier. Oh,
Jim's got to get his back off the mat.
a right
Nice
left
body
by
shot.
Poirier.
These guys are chasing bonus money tonight.
Poirier clearly landing the harder and more damaging shots in this round. But Jim Miller hanging in there.
Yes, he is. Very, very tough. The issue is when you're only reacting, it's a problem. You have to be able to take control again if you're going to find success. You cannot just react to your opponent.
Good kick to the body there by Miller. Oh, beautiful right and the left.
Hey, watch yourself. Hey, chop. Hey, chop.
Knees, get a hold
Hey.
of him.
Yes, feet.
Get a hold of
Look
him.
at that feint.
Oh, nasty left hand by Poirier. And Miller looking for that shot.
Poirier's doing it.
Oh,
There were those elbows. Poirier's doing a really good job of defending takedowns.
Yep, fighting very instinctively tonight. Under 90 seconds now to go round 2. Seen a couple desperation shots from Jim Miller after he got stung. Miller is wearing it here midway through this one.
this is a big, big round so far for Dustin Poirier.
Poirier going to take down now.
He's going to get it.
Yep. I think Jim's tired. The accumulation of the damage that he's taken. Good takedown by Dustin.
Most certainly, but look what Jim is setting up here. He just doesn't have it in the tank.
1 minute to go. Let's get our head free. Hands on the chest.
But Dustin takes him down right in front of his corner. Mike Brown telling him instructions.
He's letting him up.
Miller's face is busted open.
You like that decision by Poirier to let him up?
I think it's a great idea because he was doing so well on the feet.
It's just danger, too, in being on top of Jim Miller there.
Yes. And Miller certainly looks like he's slowing down. There's a nice combination again by Poirier. He's throwing lead.
He is swinging.
And that look was almost as if to say, what is it going to take to make this guy go
Another
unconscious?
good kick to the body by Jim Miller. Jim Miller's having some good success.
Yeah, he is.
Getting under that right
punches.
arm. And there's a nice knee to the body. Man, Miller is not out of this.
No.
Incredibly so. And nods at Poirier.
These are two tough men.
Let's take a look here. Poirier with a left hand. You see Miller stumble a little bit there against the cage. There's another left hand and a right behind it. And that one wobbled him a bit. Look at that beautiful head movement there and a right-left combination. Another right behind it. Poirier looking sharp in the second round. Look at that.
Let's wrestle.
Oh my goodness.
Jim Miller.
66
Come on, buddy.
shots to the head.
And it's not like he's throwing pawing jabs at his head. He's throwing full power at Jim Miller. Jim Miller's taking these. And not only is he taking these shots,
the rhythm.
he's actually
In front of
returning.
him, let him dictate. Keep moving. Reset. If you're standing in front of her, you reset. Dictate the rhythm. When you finish it with leg kicks,
Hey, buddy. Dustin, don't force anything. 5 minutes. Pick him apart. 5 minutes. Hey,
Beat him to your distance. Hey, beat him to your distance.
UFC 208 is presented in high definition by the hilarious new comedy Fist Fight, starring Ice Cube and Charlie Day, in theaters February 17th. Dustin Poirier, relatively new father. You see the tattoo, Parker Noel, for his daughter.
You ready?
On the right side there. Here we go. Third and final round. What a fight so far. Dustin Poirier, Jim Miller.
Jim's corner told him, you dictate the pace. Stop allowing him to dictate.
And he landed a nice, clean left hand there, but obviously that's easier said than done.
Yes.
Because Dustin Poirier is getting off with some tremendous... Oh, he nailed him with a nice right hand there as well. Jim Miller. He's about as durable as it gets.
Yeah.
13 UFC bonuses between these two fighters coming in.
Nice leg kick there by Miller, and he attacks it again.
He's kicking that low, below the thigh.
Yeah.
He's hitting him on the back of the leg.
And Poirier looks like he's hiding a limp there.
It doesn't take many of those.
He's hurting.
Yeah.
He's hurting bad.
He's going to have to switch his stance. He's going to have to switch his stance.
Yeah, he's trying to get it out of there now.
Yep.
And Jim is and he's taking a lot of the steam off of his punches too. He can't push off that right leg anymore.
Well, he's worried about the kicks. Look at that, he's worried about the kick. It's hard for him to get his offense off because he's so afraid of the kick. And a left hand by Jim Miller.
So it figures to be hard on Poirier to plan on that lead leg going forward.
Nice jab there by Poirier. You hear Poirier, they're screaming at his leg.
Look at the swelling on that leg. Look at the swelling on it.
He's limping bad. He switched stances. Oh, and he attacks the other one. Whoa. Boy, he's swinging now.
Yes.
There's a lot of time in this round as well. And again, he attacks it.
Smart by Poirier to go get a takedown.
Yep. Very nice. But he's got to be careful here off of his back. Jim Miller is very dangerous. He goes to rubber guard here. He's trapped the right arm. Let's see if he can get something off here.
Touch that ear.
He's got to really pull down on that leg because Dustin Poirier is going to pop his head out the back if he doesn't.
Miller, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt dating to July of 2010.
Very key for Poirier not to allow this right hand to stay on the ground too much. That's when guys attack. As wrestlers, we tend to put our hands on each side of the body. You cannot have your hand on the ground with a guy that's very good at grappling.
Exactly, especially off the back. That's the one thing that people look to control. When the hands are on the mat, your arm is in jeopardy. You can trap it with the legs. And Jim Miller looking to attack the neck now here. He's holding on to the neck. Poirier has been submitted before. Of course, the Korean Zombie caught him with a Darce choke, which is Poirier's specialty.
Right, yeah.
And Jim Miller looking to set up a triangle here again, going with the rubber guard, but he's not pulling down with the right leg, or the right arm rather this time. He's got the left leg strong on the back of the neck, and now nothing.
But clearly Poirier, guys, running some clock here after the damage sustained to that leg.
This is a much better position for him than on the feet because he took 2-3 more of those kicks, maybe, and he may not be able to stand at all.
Yeah, if you were in Miller's corner, I mean, it's a toss-up here. Do you try to keep attacking off your back, or do you try to get back up to your feet and chop at that leg?
Right.
I think you have to be trying to get back to your feet. Give yourself a shot.
Yeah, because it seems like Poirier's doing a real good job of defending, and now Miller recognizes there's only a minute and 30 to go. He's going to try to get back up to his feet.
Yep.
But Poirier's on his back here. He's going to slip off now. Yep, he's screwed up. And a lot of that could be about his legs not functioning properly.
Jim needs to create space here, though. He doesn't not be here. He doesn't need to be here. He needs to create space to get back on those kicks. Poirier needs to be okay with this. He needs to be okay with keeping him close.
Well, what's also interesting, if that knee is that damaged, how well is he going to be at defending against takedowns?
Yeah.
I mean, how damaged is that leg?
Well, he can defend takedowns. I just don't think he can take many more of those.
Look at this. Oh, man. He made a big mistake there trying to hop over the top. And again, right arm to the mat, pulls up on his left, but it's just his head's pressed up against the cage. Not a lot of room for Miller to move.
Coming up on 30 seconds to decide this one.
Oh, he's got a Kimura.
Kimura tip by Miller.
Very hard to do off your back, especially when you're tired. especially when you don't have full guard.
Poirier's going to cover it. You see that? He's trying to cover it with his left leg. Now there's not much danger.
Well, now Jim's in a better position. Now he throws that left leg over.
The leg goes over the top.
Yeah, it's a better position now. Now he's got control.
Slipped out.
Poirier on top.
What a fight turned in by these two lightweights.
Great fight.
Great audible by Dustin Poirier to go to the rest in there.
Yes. So Poirier and Jim Miller go the distance to kick off the pay-per-view main card tonight in Brooklyn.
Poirier gets up and he is limping.
This fight replay is brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you.
And here you see Poirier with a right and a left and a right again, and there's a left. The straight left by Miller. I mean, this is the wild brawl at the end of the first round.
Everything he said he wouldn't do, he did. Right there, you see him fade back, come back with the straight right hand, and these are the kicks by Jim Miller.
Yeah, the low leg kicks really were damaging that leg. And this is the time where he caught that kick, wound up getting him to the ground. And that was a huge, huge factor in that fight because he's not even standing up now. And Jim, looking at that now, has got to be thinking, man, I should have probably concentrated on doing everything I could to try to stand out. He might have a broken leg.
Yeah, he had to actually get that takedown. That was the only way to get through the rest of the fight, was to actually turn it into a grappling match. If he'd have been on his feet anymore, Miller land 1, 2 more of those leg kicks, he may not have been able to continue.
And that's got to be messing with Miller now, knowing that.
Well, because he spent so much time attacking submissions instead of trying to get back
up to his feet, which he might have been able to do much more than he thought, because he really didn't try too hard to get back up to his feet.
I think it's okay, please.
I mean, his right shin is massively swollen. It is a huge, huge bulge.
Yep. Both of those guys were kicking low. There's a lot of benefit to kicking below the knee, but it only takes one to get checked and you can mess yourself up. So, you know, Miller did a lot of damage with those kicks himself, but Dustin Poirier may have gotten a couple of his kicks checked, and he started to hurt his own leg, you know, so he's going to be sore tomorrow, I'll tell you that much.
And you might have heard Poirier say to his chief corner, Mike Brown, I'm taking some time off. Poirier certainly has earned it, fought 3 times in 2016, making his first appearance of the new year here tonight. Outstanding way to kick off the main card, Jim Miller and Dustin Poirier. Poirier unable to get Miller out of there, certainly not for any lack of effort. Dustin Poirier in some obvious pain here as we await the official decision. 17th UFC appearance for Dustin Poirier, debuted back on New Year's Day 2011 at UFC 125. The official decision is brought to you by Metro PCS. Get a fast nationwide 4G LTE network for only $30 period, wireless figured out. Now for the official decision, Bruce Buffer. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecard for decision. Eric Cohen scores the contest 28-28. Chris Lee scores the contest 30-27, Poirier. And Derek Cleary scores the contest 29-28 for the winner by majority decision, Dustin the Diamond Poirier.
I'm here with the winner, Dustin Poirier. Dustin, you got a nasty swelling on that right shin. Tell us what you think is going on with it.
I'm not sure, man. I hope the bone's not broken. I didn't hear anything snap, but it felt wobbly a couple times in that last round, so I had to start wrestling. My game plan was to tear his lead leg up, but somebody must have got the memo.
Well, you made an excellent adjustment in that 3rd round when your leg was wobbling. You managed to take him down and control him and did a great job of managing that position. You came into this fight off of the Michael Johnson fight, and one of the things that you were saying was that you were going to be defensively responsible, and you immediately got in a crazy brawl.
Yeah, after that first round, I went back to the corner. They told me, what are we doing? I said, we're fighting. He said, we're brawling. So I tried to adjust, but man, I like to fight, Joe. This guy, I felt like I had the timing on him. I thought I had him hurt a couple times. The guy's tough to put away because I hit him with some shots that would have put some guys away. But that's Jim Miller, man. He's a blue-collar guy, a tough worker, always relevant, and everybody knows a win over him is a serious win.
It is a serious win, and you did hit him with some tremendous shots. Now, hopefully your right shin is okay, but this was an excellent performance. Are you happy with the performance other than this?
Yeah, I wanted to finish. I didn't want to go to decision, but coming out here and getting my hand raised off of a loss was all that mattered to me. I want to get home tomorrow to my beautiful baby daughter. I miss her already, man. She's only 6 months old, but she's my world, you know, and everything I do is for her.
Well, I hope your leg is okay. Thank you very much for an amazing fight, and congratulations. Dustin Poirier, ladies and gentlemen.
Tommy Barzini and Mike Brown in to help Dustin Poirier. Amir Khan front and center tonight in Brooklyn, New York at UFC 208. And there's the former UFC middleweight champion. They love him around these parts. Chris Weidman draws Gegard Mousasi coming up in April at UFC 210 in Buffalo, New York. This look inside a sold-out Barclays Center is brought to you by Halo Wars 2, available February 21st on Xbox One and Windows 10. Get the Ultimate Edition and play 4 days early. UFC 208, Holm versus Randamie is brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. Metro PCS. Get a fast nationwide 4G LTE network for only $30 period. Wireless figured out. Halo Wars 2, available February 21st on Xbox One and Windows 10. Get the Ultimate Edition and play 4 days early. And by the hilarious new comedy Fist Fight. On February 17th, prepare for the biggest fight in movie history. Fist Fight, starring Ice Cube and Charlie Day, in theaters February 17th. And there is the proud Albuquerque, New Mexico native, Holly Holm. The former UFC Bantamweight champion comes into this spot battle-tested as she tries to become just the 4th two-division champion in UFC history. Tonight, though, a decidedly different challenge in the form of decorated Dutch striker Germaine Randamie. She is a 10-time world champion in Muay Thai, but tonight, she can change her life forever if she can leave Brooklyn as the first UFC Women's Featherweight champion.
Let's go! Take your best shot! That's a fight of the year candidate, folks, and a rematch that everybody wants to see. Welcome to the most compelling matchup in combat sports today.
All right, here's a look at what's coming your way over the next week or so on UFC Fight Pass, the original series. Where are they now? Back for Season 4 this Tuesday, February 14th at 9 a.m. Eastern. Then Wednesday, the following night, the 15th, live and exclusive, Alaska Fighting Championship 129, start time 11 p.m. Eastern. Cage Warriors 80 next Saturday, February 18th. And on Sunday, don't forget, Sunday night, UFC Fight Night, Lewis versus Brown begins right here with the Fight Pass prelim, 6 p.m. Eastern. Download the UFC app today. Live from Barclays Center, Brooklyn, New York, this is UFC 208, Holm versus Randamie, brought to you by Halo Wars 2, available February 21st on Xbox One and Windows 10. Get the Ultimate Edition and play 4 days early. As we move on, the top 10 light heavyweight rankings brought to you by Ultimate Beastmaster, where tapping out isn't an option. February 24th, only on Netflix. You see highlighted there, Glover Teixeira there, number 3 in the world, DC.
Yeah, man, this is a big spot for Glover. You know, he said that he's been in this situation before, where Jared Cannonier's been, a young guy trying to make an impression. You look at the top 10 here. You got me and Anthony Johnson fighting on April 8th, Alexander Gustafsson. I mean, you know, he's dealing with injury now. Corey Anderson's about to fight. This is a big fight tonight for our division. If Glover Teixeira wins this fight and is impressive, he puts himself right back in the mix because him and I have not competed against each other before.
Glover Teixeira will take on all comers, taking on Jared Cannonier tonight. Not as big a betting underdog as you might think in the biggest spot of his career. Well, Glover Teixeira's place among the top light heavyweights in the world never been questioned. Tonight, though, Alaska's Jared Cannonier believes he is primed to show the world that he is the real deal. At 32 years old, Jared Cannonier is still a young man in the light heavyweight division, and after a most impressive debut at 205 pounds, he's agreed to face one of the best in the world, in former world title challenger Glover Teixeira.
I think Jared's gonna learn that this is my place. It's not there for him yet. He's a very tough opponent. I believe he's gonna get there, just not tonight.
Glover's one of the top guys in the division, and I'm very excited to accept the challenge of fighting him and go in there and show the world that I'm one of the top guys as well.
Jared Cannonier first drew the attention of UFC fans with his work in the heavyweight division. But after ending his run among the big men with a performance of the night knockout of Cyril Astaire last April, the Alaskan began his 205-pound run with a memorable fight of the night win over Iwan Kudela.
A win over Glover is a huge statement to the rest of the division. It'll let them know that I'm here, I'm able to compete at the highest level, and I'm in it to win it.
Brazil's Glover Teixeira has been a member of the elite for years, with 8 UFC wins keeping him consistently in the title picture. But in 2015, Teixeira began taking his game to a new level with a trio of finishes over Ovince St. Preux, Patrick Cummins, and Rashad Evans. And entering 2017, Teixeira is out to prove he remains a feared title threat in this wide-open division.
My style is always to push in, to finish fights, either in the ground or knockout. Me, I'm gonna be aggressive. I'm gonna try to finish.
Proudly representing Legacy Jiu-Jitsu in Anchorage, Alaska, here is Jared Cannonier, 9-1, trying to make it 3 straight in what is undeniably, Joe, the biggest spot of his mixed martial arts career.
Undeniably, without a doubt. Of course, he's only had 3 fights inside the octagon. He's 2-1 so far, and 2 of them being at light heavyweight. And I think that right now, this is a huge step up for him. He understands what this fight means. He's taking on a man in Glover Teixeira that for a long time, he was the most respected guy outside the UFC. Right. He wasn't in here, other than, of course, like guys like Fedor. When you look at a guy like Glover, he's a longtime training partner of Chuck Liddell, and he's an incredibly well-rounded guy. Black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, knockout power in his hands. But he's coming off of a destruction at the hands of Rumble Johnson. So Glover's in a rebuilding position here, and now he's fighting this young, up-and-coming guy who's 32 years old, very strong, doesn't have the kind of experience that he has, but has this opportunity in front of him. So Jared Cannonier is in a great place as far as testing himself, as far as proving that he's capable of hanging with the best in the division.
And Jared Cannonier, DC, he's a young 32, turned pro in 2011, was idle for all of 2012. I know, DC, you've liked what you've seen in terms of the footwork, moves very well for a big guy.
Yeah, he's very active, very athletic, and there comes a point in every prospect's career where you either gotta either go forward or you gotta get off the yarn. And tonight's that time for Jared Cannonier.
So here's the former world title challenger, number 3 in the world, Glover Teixeira, born in Minas Gerais, Brazil, but will have a lot of local support in the building tonight. Has made his home in Danbury, Connecticut. A lot of his students here tonight. 8-3 in the UFC, and DC still has visions of coming and taking that strap of yours that's sitting in Northern Cal.
As he should. You know, Glover and I have not competed against each other before. I saw Glover last night in the hotel, and he was so comfortable. He was so confident going into this fight. He said, look, I'm from around the area, so I need to go and compete. But it wasn't him that was putting the pressure on himself. It was his wife. His wife said, Glover has to go get the job done. We're local. Right. All of our people in here. Right. Glover Teixeira, you go out there and you get your hand raised, young man. Or I don't know if you're going to be able to go back to Danbury, Connecticut.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to hear that from your wife right before you fight.
She said, you go get it done, Glover. But, I mean, it was just, man, they were so comfortable. They were so confident. And you could see the strength of their relationship and the effect their relationship has on his professional career. You know, they're in this thing together, and you could see it from him.
Well, he's an incredibly well-rounded guy, and his knockout power is always there, and you saw that in the Rashad Evans fight. You saw the submission skills, the Open St. Preux fight. He can just do it all, and he's been around for a long time.
At one point, he won 18 fights in a row. Who wins 18 fights in a row?
I mean, it's really almost a shame that he was outside of the UFC for over 6 years while he was trying to get a visa, because we really miss seeing him in his prime. And how old is he now?
He is 37. The Tail of the Tape is brought to you by Ultimate Beastmaster, where tapping out isn't an option. February 24th, only on Netflix. So Teixeira, 37 years old. Cannonier will be 33 in March. Teixeira, 3 inches taller. He weighed in 205 pounds. 204 and a hook for Cannonier, who will have the slight reach advantage of 1.5 inches. All right, now for the introductions, here is Bruce Buck.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC light heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 9 wins, 1 loss. He stands 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighing in at 204.5 pounds. Fighting out of Anchorage, Alaska, Jared the Killer Gorilla Cannonier. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 25 wins, 5 losses. He stands 6 feet 2 inches tall, weighing in at 205 pounds. Fighting out of Danbury, Connecticut, by way of Centralia, Minas Gerais, Brazil, presenting the number 3 ranked light heavyweight contender in the world, Glover Teixeira. And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Kevin McDonald.
Kevin McDonald, our referee for this highly anticipated light heavyweight showdown. Ariane Celeste is with us. And don't forget, stay ready on Twitter tonight. We will send out fan voting polls throughout this UFC 208 main card. Hashtag UFC 208.
Ready to fight?
The handle is @UFC. All right, here we go. Round 1 of a possible 3. Jared Cannonier in the white trunks. Glover Teixeira is in black.
Glover Teixeira with some excellent boxing skills. Those very nice short punches.
Fighting within himself right now, fighting behind that jab. That's his best combination. That straight right hand followed by a left hook, whether it be up top or to the body. Great mover by Cannonier so far. On his toes, bouncing.
Yeah, Cannonier will give you a lot of different looks. Was susceptible to the takedown his last time out against Iwan Kutelaba, but also showed off some very good defensive grappling skills.
If you're a guy that actually struggles with the takedown, you cannot back up against Glover Teixeira because he's constantly pressuring you forward, constantly trying to get his hands on you. And if you get up against the fence, he will shoot for a double leg and take you down.
Halo Wars 2 available February 21st on Xbox One and Windows 10. Get the Ultimate Edition and play 4 days early.
Effortless.
Right there on that high crotch. Snatch high crotch. Started to run the pipe. Cannonier goes down. Glover Teixeira in top position.
And Glover is nasty from that top position. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Incredible pressure from the top. And Jared manages to get to full guard here, but Glover is going to try to bust him up.
Jared's doing a good job of trying to use his feet to push Glover off. He's got to get his feet at his hips to try to back him off and get back to his feet.
Glover's going to drive forward, so if Jared moves left or right, Glover's going to take his back. As soon as he tries to scramble to get to his feet, he's got to do this the right way. He's either got to push Glover off or he's got to threaten with a sweep to try to get back up to his feet.
Yes.
Sometimes guys do that by attacking the legs. Sometimes guys do that with a Kimura. But he's got to do this the right way. Or from here. Now he's got half guard. He's got that underhook on the right side. Scoot up to his right hip and try to get up from there. Now he lost the underhook.
The key is that underhook. He's got to get back to that underhook. There you go. Now
He's got it again. But he's got to watch his neck.
Yep. That's guillotine.
Oh, he's trapped.
Glover's good here, too. Glover's got a good guillotine.
Jarrett's trapped. This is a bad spot. But he's stepping over, though. He's doing a good job. He rolled. He gave up position, but he got out of the submission.
Yep, sometimes you have to give up position to get out of a submission. He was in a lot of trouble there. Good job by Cannonier.
Yeah, that's a very smart move there. He recognized the danger, and he recognized the correct strategic move.
Cannonier feels like he's really, DC, getting all the training he needs. Legacy Jiu-Jitsu in Anchorage, Alaska said, you'll hear more about my camp in the future. A lot of guys shying away from the big camps, and Cannonier has gotten to this level without having to change much.
You know, he hasn't. And he said, as you said earlier, Joe, if you build it, they will come. You know, and he said, I'll build this gym in Alaska, and people will come. He goes, he's done training camps before other places, but he doesn't feel like he wants to switch teams to try to get better because he's made a little bit of money now and had some success.
Glover is going to try to pass that right leg through here. He's got head and arm control. He feels like he's got a good grip, and he's maintaining control in the top position. And Jarrett holding on to that right leg strong, using that lockdown position.
Joe, when people boo these positions, like they're kind of, starting to get a little antsy, they don't understand how taxing this is for Jared Cannonier with Glover Teixeira on top of you, in the side control, in the half guard, attempting to choke. Glover's doing good work here.
Yeah, I mean, it's disrespectful. These guys are fighting, and they're, the people that are booing, they don't understand, or they don't want to see this. They want to see people stand and bang.
Well, right, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the path of least resistance for Glover Teixeira stylistically against a guy like Jared Cannonier.
Sure, because Cannonier does possess some really dangerous punching power, and you can get caught standing up. You rarely get caught on the ground like this, the way Glover's maintaining this position. Full mount now, and Cannonier in a lot of trouble.
The grappling, the difference in the grappling right now is so big.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot of lucky arm bars or triangles that get thrown up, but lucky punches are a real deal.
Yes.
But even that's not real, because the guy wanted to punch you, punched you. That's not luck. That's what he wanted to do. It's just more dangerous.
Yes. Look at Cannonier trying to find the side of the octagon to get back to his feet.
Nice job by Cannonier,
nice,
right back up.
Good.
Beautiful job. That's huge.
Yes.
Just to be able to, nice knee to the body by Cannonier, and an uppercut.
Jared Cannonier starting to open up. That draws
he's wobbled. He's wobbled.
Yep.
Glover's in trouble. Let's see if Cannonier recognizes it.
Glover tried to smile and put on.
Come on, get the book over here.
This corner cam is brought to you by Halo Wars 2, available February 21st on Xbox One and Windows 10. Get the Ultimate Edition and play 4 days early.
There was two big aspects to that. One, that Cannonier was able to get his back to the cage and stand back up. But two, the wobbling. That was huge. Let's take a look at that here.
High crotch by Glover Teixeira. Look at that. Run the pike, put Cannonier down. Like you said, Joe, very effortless to get that takedown on Cannonier, and it got to very dominant position.
Well, it also shows here's this guillotine attempt, but it also shows the conditioning of Cannonier, because he spent most of that round with Glover on top of him, beating on him, and yet at the end of the round, you saw this. Boom, beautiful knee to the body, right uppercut, and that wobbled him. And watch, you see him move away? Look at his legs.
He tried to smile.
Did the chicken dance.
He tried to put on. So, he tried to put on that he wasn't hurt, but
he got cracked.
Your mind could say one thing, but the body responds in the way that it's really feeling. You saw that leg kind of buckle a little bit.
And how about Jared Cannonier, still a federal employee for the FAA, putting in 10-hour shifts as an airway transportation system specialist, hanging tough with the number 3 guy in the world, round 2.
Very impressive, and I'm very impressed again with his conditioning. The fact that he had Glover wearing on him. He carried his weight the entire round. Right? And came back strong at the end of it.
Glover respects his power now. You see him fainting a little bit. You see Glover kind of reaching out because he's reacting. He's reacting to Jared's feints.
Well, he might likely still be a little bit wobbly.
And a lot of people in Teixeira's spot, top 3 in the world, maybe would have resisted a challenge like this, but if you know Glover Teixeira, that is not his MO.
Well, he wanted to fight. He wanted to fight close to home, and here he has been. His head is straight up in the air here.
That right hand barely missed.
Yeah, and Glover is not moving his head much. He just got cracked with a jab there by Jared.
You see the confidence growing for Cannonier.
Man, these takedowns. Cannonier's got to work on that for sure.
He's snatching that high crotch, head outside single leg, running the pike, and Cannonier really has no answer for it.
Well, it's one of the more underrated aspects of Glover's game is his wrestling.
You know, back when I was wrestling internationally, Glover Teixeira and I actually entered some of the same tournaments. And he told me this. He goes, I've been in tournaments with you before, so we were wrestling at the highest level tournament. So for Glover to be in those tournaments, you know that he had the ability to compete.
And he's still in your bracket.
Still in the same bracket. It never changes, John.
3.5 minutes here to go, round 2. Teixeira expected a competitive fight. He's getting one from the upstart Jared Cannonier.
Yeah, but Glover on top again, and let's see if he lets Jared get his back to the cage again, like he did in that first round. He's trying, and Jared's trying to scooch. Now Jared gets to full guard. And Cannonier's doing a good job of protecting himself off of his back as well. You see here, that elbow got through, but not a lot is getting through.
But what he needs to do is get back to the side of the octagon like he did the first time. That was his way back to his feet. Get back to the side of the octagon, use the fence as a barrier to get yourself back up to your feet, where he had his most success when he just let his hands go.
He's got one foot on the hip here, and he is scooting back. And he's getting closer.
Look at Glover turning him.
Yeah.
Very smart by Glover.
Yeah, that's experience. And he's also trying to step over that right leg. But Cannonier remains in full guard.
Cannonier began his UFC career as a heavyweight, he said, after his last win at 205 pounds, that eventually wanted to drop down to middleweight.
Wow. He's a big guy for light heavyweight.
Right.
Yeah, he's big and thick.
Just over 2 minutes to go here, round 2. Good spot here for Teixeira, pinning Cannonier up against the fence.
Cannonier needs to try to sit up. He needs to try to sit up to use that fence to get back to his feet.
And he needs to try to get that underhook on that left side as well. The same side as the half guard. He turned himself away. I don't know why he did that. That might be a lack of experience.
Yes.
Stop!
Whoa.
Oh, what? What? That's a terrible stand-up. That is a terrible stand-up.
Joe, it's stuff like that, Joe.
That is not good. That's, you know what? That's not appealing to mixed martial arts. That's appealing to people that want to see a brawl. And Glover just got tagged. And now Glover realizes he's got to have a dominant position. He can't just have half guard on top.
Yes.
Or he might get stood up.
Cannonier needs to take advantage of his restart, though. He has to just let his hands go.
Yeah, the referee got bored. That's all that was. And that's where it's weird, the subjective call that the referee can make as to whether or not a fight should be stood up. I mean, it's completely subjective.
You know, Glover Teixeira used to have his head moving a lot more than he is right now. Before it was constantly on it was like a time clock. You know, it was like Mike Tyson. Yeah, he used to have his head moving the whole time, bobbing and weaving. Today it seems to be pretty still.
Do you think that it could be perhaps that in training he underestimated Cannonier's striking?
No, I just think that as he gets older, you know, he's not moving as much as he was before. And last time, even the fight against Anthony Johnson, he came out with his head moving, and eventually he got caught with that uppercut. So I don't know if that maybe played a part in it, but I think he was at his best when he was moving his head and firing off those strikes.
I think so too, but it could be also that he's more concentrating on getting Jared Cannonier back for wobbling him in that first round than he is on his own defense.
Yeah.
Oh,
nice
there it is.
Yep.
Loading up. Oh, nice shot to the body.
Shot.
Very nice. I like how he's mixing up there, and Cannonier felt that.
So both guys finding their range there towards the tail end of the round.
But DC, now, what do you think about when it comes to scoring here? Because Glover was able to take him down in both rounds, but how much impact do you have, like as far as Cannonier rocking him at the end of the first?
You know, he didn't go down, and he won 4 minutes to that round. You know, that round should definitely be his. Second round should definitely be his too.
Clean up that spin buggy over there.
Jared, we work that lead leg. He's giving it to you, but you're beating him with punches. You're beating him with punches. And he's winning by points. Okay? Right, John?
Let's get him business in there.
You're ready.
Don't let him get comfortable.
Don't let him get comfortable. We
It's
got
2
this round
down
to
to
finish this
0
thing.
now.
Okay?
He's tired.
You ready to do this? He's slowing down. Presiona con combinación.
Directions in Portuguese sound so cool. Preparado. Tranquilo.
The unauthorized reproduction or distribution of this copyrighted work is illegal and punishable under law.
Such a beautiful language.
Such a beautiful language, Joe.
So Fernelli Feliz, senior in the corner of Glover Teixeira, to your point, DC, believes they have 2 rounds in the can. Third and final round here.
They might, but the thing, I mean, most likely do. But the thing is, Cannonier is dangerous, and they still got to fight him for 5 minutes. And there's a nice kick by Cannonier.
Doing exactly what his coaches asked for.
Exactly right.
He's got to stay moving, though. Move. Avoid the takedown, because Glover is effortless with his takedown.
Smart.
Again.
There it is.
Boom.
Path of least resistance is the easiest way.
I mean, just complete dominance when it comes to takedown versus takedown defense. Glover's so much better. And he's stepping over.
Pretty deflating, excuse me, Joe, to have that happen so early in the round, similarly to rounds 1 and 2.
The rounds have looked the same. You know, Cannonier has his moments on the feet, but Teixeira is just dominating the grappling exchange.
Yeah, and this round, not much of a moment. Very quick, one kick off, and Glover immediately getting him to the ground.
And Teixeira clearly did his homework. If you watch Cannonier's last fight against Iwan Cutelaba, was taken down 5 or 6 times, worked his way back up a lot more quickly back in December than he has been able to tonight.
Well, DC, this is an important question for you then, because, you know, you are famous for training with one of the best heavyweights of all time. And you've said many times that that's what made you the fighter you are today. Do you think that a guy like Jared can get to the highest levels training in Alaska with a bunch of people that you don't know?
You know, Joe, we talk about this all the time with Ovince St. Preux, and I kind of feel like at times we're picking on him and his team. But I do believe that at a point you have to try to get help from the highest level.
Well, a lot of people thought that about Stipe Miocic as well.
And look at what happened
Look
with that.
what happened to him. He's the heavyweight champion of the world right now.
Yeah.
But that's, you know, but he comes from a very respected gym. Well, Glover's cut up. Something happened. It was an elbow from the bottom, I believe. And it's tough to see because Glover's burying his face in Jared's chest what the extent of the damage is, but Jared is emboldened by it, and he's moving a lot. And look at this. Glover's moving a full mount here.
Beautiful transition by Teixeira, and staying plenty busy here.
Oh, he pushed off the cage. Look at this, but Glover hanging on to them. Beautiful job maintaining the position. Yeah, terrible for Jared. He's got to go to his back now and try to just stay mounted. Arm triangle, it's right there, and that is something that Glover excels in. He just doesn't have the arm, the left arm underneath the neck, but the most important thing is holding on to that right arm, or excuse me, the left arm of Cannonier.
He's in such a dominant position.
Yeah, plenty of time too, 2 minutes to go. Look at this, Cannonier bucking again, hip escape, turn. Oh, he gets to half guard.
Great job by Cannonier.
Very nice, but he's got to keep going. Can't be satisfied with just that half guard position. You got to maintain that rolling back and forth to try to get to a point where you can get back up to your feet.
That's
There's no
chance.
time here.
There's no submission. He's not going to submit Glover Teixeira.
Right.
He needs to get back to his feet to try to go and secure. I mean, he hurt him in the one flurry that he threw in the very first round, so he has to get back to his feet to try and get damage off again, John.
And Cannonier, in some respects, was bailed out by the referee, Kevin McDonald, in round 2. Teixeira staying plenty busy here. Mounts Cannonier again. Tucks those heels.
Yeah, look how comfortable he is. He's just riding him here. And again, looking for that arm triangle. That's it right there. Doesn't have the left arm underneath the face, though. Ooh, big elbow.
Some nice elbows, yeah. He's really dominating the grappling.
Absolutely. Dominating the takedowns, dominating the grappling, and in this round, he's putting a beating down on Jared Cannonier.
So more than 3 minutes now of top control time. This round alone for Glover Teixeira. Perhaps Jared Cannonier finally running out of gas here.
I feel like Cannonier is a guy with a tremendous amount of potential. But man, really got to work on that wrestling defense.
And now, you saw before he was bucking. Now Glover seems a little more secure in the three-quarter mount. Before going all the way mount, when I say three-quarter mount, I mean your foot is still on the inside. It's blocking the inside leg. It doesn't allow these guys to just buck and knock you off.
You can adjust.
Yes, you can adjust. Look at this, though.
Yep,
see, he goes to full mount.
Absolutely.
Look at Cannonier.
Cannonier's almost back up to his feet.
Right away, the moment you go to full mount, the guys buck into you, and you have nothing to really control the bottom leg anymore.
So little time here for Jared. It's almost better off going for broke.
You have to.
Yeah, just try to throw him forward. But look how smart Glover is, keeping his hips way back, not allowing himself to get high on the shoulders, and Cannonier up to his feet.
So
can he separate those legs?
A dominant third and final round for Glover Teixeira. Certainly found his second wind after getting clipped early on in the fight. Teixeira and Cannonier go the distance. This fight replay is brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you.
Well, you watch Glover Teixeira. Here, change levels to a high crotch, runs the pipe, Cannonier goes down. From this point on, he dominated the majority of the round. Second round, again, head outside single. Runs the pipe, Cannonier goes down. Then in the very third round, once again, snatches the single. Cannonier can't go back, he just falls. He's using his momentum to actually just take him down. And once he's on top, the grappling level was just a big discrepancy in terms of the favor of Glover Teixeira.
Huge. I mean, what I was impressed with Cannonier was his conditioning, the fact that he still had gas in the third round after being dominated in the grappling like that. But clearly, when it comes to skill, Glover Teixeira had a massive advantage in this fight. And that's what we expected coming in with that rankings.
So with the added emphasis on employing the 10-8 rounds, I mean, were we looking at a 10-8 there? It's got to be, right?
Blowout,
The third round,
Yes.
I thought for sure was 10-8 for Teixeira.
Yeah, for sure. What is Glover standing in front saying something to you?
Tough guy. Yeah, very tough guy.
Yeah, he's a very tough guy and a very well-conditioned guy, but I think what we were alluding to earlier, got to get with some really good wrestlers. Got to really learn that takedown defense, but still, he's got some potential.
And you have to respect the number 3 guy in the world, Glover Teixeira, taking on an unranked guy in Jared Cannonier. Teixeira was briefly linked to a fight with Jimmy Manawa, who will fight Corey Anderson in the main event in March. Tonight, Teixeira Cannonier go the distance. The official decision brought to you by Metro PCS. Get a fast nationwide 4G LTE network for only $30 period. Wireless figured out. Here's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for decision. All 3 judges scored this contest 30-26 for the winner by unanimous decision, Glover Teixeira.
I'm here with the winner, Glover Teixeira. Glover, this is a very difficult position for a guy like you in the top 10 to take on a young, up-and-coming guy that's not ranked. Give us your thoughts on the fight.
You know, Joe, this guy's a tough dude, man. I was talking with Cormier yesterday and talk about how tough he is. And, you know, I hurt my labrum, the same labrum that I hurt with John Jones right a couple weeks before this fight, and I knew this the game.
Your shoulder, is that what you meant?
Yeah, the labrum, yeah. My right shoulder, and the game plan was to take him down and beat him to the ground, but hey man, I need to step up my game and, you know, do a lot of changes if I want to compete with a guy like Cormier, Anthony Johnson, John Jones. That's those guys I need to really sit serious. So I know I can beat those guys in the top 10 division, but if I want to do what I want to do, be a champion, step up my game to fight those guys.
A big factor in this fight was your takedowns. Every takedown you attempted, you were able to secure in the ground and pound. Were you surprised you weren't able to finish this guy?
Yeah. I mean, he was not trying to finish or get up too much, but he was very good defending. And you know, when you play that game defending, Joe, it's totally a different thing. Like, you know what I mean? I would probably do 3 rounds with Anthony Johnson if I move around the cage and defend myself and not trying to win in the last 13 seconds because I'm trying to finish him in less than 5.
Well, congratulations on taking a risky fight and getting the result that you wanted, and we look forward to seeing you again. Still one of the top guys in the division. Glover Teixeira, ladies and gentlemen.
Glover Teixeira still very much in the mix at 205 pounds after the win. Michelle Watterson in the mix at 115 pounds. The Karate Hottie fights Rose Namajunas. Coming up, the greatest closer of all time, New York Yankees legend Mariano Rivera Mo in the building tonight at Barclays Center. All right, coming up next, perennial middleweight contender Shakare Souza remains in the top 3 in the world. He has spent his entire UFC career on the brink of a title shot. tonight, he draws a crafty veteran in Maine native Tim Boach. He believes his entire career is built towards tonight, and an upset win for Boach puts him right in the mix at 185 pounds. Well, the UFC's next pay-per-view will be Saturday, March 4th in Las Vegas, Nevada, headlined by a rematch of a recent welterweight championship classic. Wonderboy Thompson and Tyron Woodley for the UFC welterweight title.
And they are winging at each other. Go! Both of these guys are pushed to their limit in this fight.
Come on, baby! This contest has been judged wrong.
We will do it again.
UFC 209 is loaded, ladies and gentlemen. Woodley and Thompson run it back for the UFC welterweight title. Khabib Nurmagomedov 24-0. Tony Ferguson has won 9 in a row. That is the UFC interim lightweight championship. That fight's a long time coming, Joe Rogan.
It is a long time coming to see Tony Ferguson compete against Khabib Nurmagomedov. And Nurmagomedov, who trains with our friend Daniel Cormier, is one of the most talented guys in MMA, period, and one of the very few undefeated guys that are in the position that he's in. Having faced so many top guys, getting to a shot at an interim title and being undefeated is pretty unprecedented.
Rashad Evans will make his middleweight debut against Daniel Kelly. Also on tap, a rematch between Alistair Overeem and Mark Hunt. We are coming to you live tonight from inside Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. It is UFC 208 Holm versus Randamie, brought to you by Halo Wars 2, available February 21st on Xbox One and Windows 10. Get the Ultimate Edition and play 4 days early. All right, these UFC middleweight rankings brought to you by Ultimate Beastmaster, where tapping out isn't an option. February 24th, only on Netflix. DC coming up, Jacare Souza and Tim Boach. We'll see if Jacare can maintain his slot as the number 3 ranked middleweight in the world.
Many people believe that this man, Jacare Souza, should have already fought for the UFC middleweight championship. But he said, I'm not going to wait. He said, me and my managers called everybody. I want to fight. Some just flat out said no. Others says, what does it benefit me? They got down to Tim Boach. Tim Boach goes, okay, I'm not going on vacation with my wife. I'm going to stay back so that I can fight Jacare. This is a very, very tough division. And Jacare is looking to make a statement tonight. And if Tim Boach gets the job done, he will move it to the top 10.
And this is the second time Tim Boach has had an opportunity like this. In his last fight, he fought Rafael Natal, who was ranked number 6 at the time. He stopped him, and Tim Boach thinks he can do the same thing tonight and play the spoiler.
Michael Bisping, Yoel Romero on a collision course, but Souza's right there. The Brazilian ground ace closing in on a world title shot, but now the challenges get tougher tonight, no exception. He faces off with surging veteran Tim Boach.
Tim Boach versus Jacare Souza is a fight between one of the top contenders in the UFC's 185-pound division and a real veteran in Tim Boach that has an amazing opportunity in front of him. Tim Boach is coming off 2 knockout victories in a row, including a devastating first-round victory over Rafael Natal in his last bout.
Oh, big right hand! Looking to finish this fight! It is all over! Tim Boach!
Tim Boach has serious power in his hands. He's got outstanding wrestling, very good striking skills. He is fighting one of the greatest grapplers that has ever competed in mixed martial arts. Jacare is a multiple-time Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion and one of the most respected black belts in all of the world of MMA today.
It's over. And it's all over.
Jacare is, in many people's eyes, one of the most threatening 185-pound contenders in the world.
Oh! Down goes opponent. Huge shots raining down from Jacare. Jacare Souza has done it.
But he has to take Tim Boach very seriously.
Boach trying to finish him. What a comeback!
On a 2-fight knockout win streak, Tim Boach has a lot of momentum going on right now. And Jacare, coming off of a devastating destruction of Vitor Belfort in his last bout, has a lot of momentum on his side as well.
Jacare Souza
It's a very risky fight for Jacare and an amazing opportunity for Bosch. If Bosch could manage to defeat Jacare, it absolutely launches him into the UFC's top 10 and gives his career new life. For Jacare, it's a fight that he must win if he wants to keep his top ranking as one of the most exciting contenders in the UFC's talent-rich 185-pound division.
A good man down, 13th in the world. Here is Tim Bosch making the walk for his 21st UFC appearance and brings with him some momentum. Tonight, though, undeniably, if he can get it, it would be the biggest win of his UFC career.
Massive, massive, massive victory. Many people think that Jacare is the uncrowned champion. Right. I mean, he is a spectacular fighter and one of the very best 185-pounders in the world who just hasn't had a shot at the title. But Tim Bosch possesses the kind of power that could stop any man if he lands. So Jacare's got to dodge missiles. He's got to dodge bullets. Why I like this fight is because it's risk. It's risk and reward. A lot of reward potentially for Tim Bosch. And for Jacare, it's really the only reward is kind of maintaining his position as one of the top guys right now. Right. So Tim Bosch comes in here as a huge underdog, but with a lot to gain.
He has had a penchant for the rally in D.C. As you know, Tim Bosch really has had a history in the UFC of coming up big in these situations as large betting underdog.
Yeah, he has. You know, when Tim Bosch goes into fights as the favorite, he is only 1-4. But when he comes in as the underdog, 5 wins, 2 losses. So this spot right here, Tim Bosch embraces it. He likes coming in and proving people wrong and showing them that that big burly main boy can get the job done. Look at that big old lumberjack.
We got to remember, he started his career at 205 pounds, was ragdolling people at that weight. A very strong guy and some serious power in his hands. He must be respected by Jacare.
And he is an archery aficionado, so we know Joe Rogan likes that. The 36-year-old Tim Bosch getting ready to take on Jacare Souza.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu too.
I know that. And speaking of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the black belt Jacare Souza, number 3 in the world, 6-1 in the UFC. And to your point, Joe, with respect to Bisping and Romero, a lot of people believe this is the best 185-pound mixed martial arts athlete on the planet.
Well, he lost a very controversial split decision to Yoel Romero. It was a very, very close fight, in a fight where he got rocked in the first round, then came back in the second and third. The fight against Vitor Belfort, he looked amazing. The Chris Camozzi fight, and before that, the Gegard Mousasi fight, you got to see the submission skills of this man. I mean, it's just so fluid and smooth on the ground with effortless submissions. And as I said in the pre-fight introduction, he's one of the very best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu artists to ever compete in MMA. I mean, he is right up there with guys like Damian Maia and Rickson Gracie and the greatest of all time. So he's just a spectacular representative of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But what you see from Jacare is this evolution of his striking ability. That the kind of focus and discipline that allowed him to become one of the very best in the world at Jiu-Jitsu, he's applied that same energy towards the striking. And you really saw that in like the Yushin Okami fight, where he stopped Okami with strikes and just looked phenomenal in doing so.
You know, we talked about betting odds and how Tim Bosch comes up big in the underdog role. Here's a stat for you, Rogan, and here's a stat for my man, Anik, who likes the odds.
A little bit.
Jacare Souza, this fight as the betting favorite. Remember the guys that he has fought. That is now 18 straight fights that Jacare has been favored to win a fight. 17 of those fights, Joe Rogan, he has been at least minus 200.
Oh, wow.
He has fought Luke Rockhold. He has fought Yoel Romero, Gegard Mousasi, and everybody else you listed. There is not a guy on this roster that has been favorited 17 times in a row, at least by 200. Even when I was fighting John Jones, the person people consider the greatest of all time, he wasn't minus 200. That's a crazy stat when you look at the competition that Jacare has fought.
That really is incredible and just speaks to the kind of talent that this guy possesses as he does his crocodile walk.
I love that.
I love it too.
Well, he's got a bone to pick with your teammate Luke Rockhold. He was to face Rockhold in Australia over Thanksgiving last year. Rockhold forced to pull out due to injury. But Souza trying to stay busy and certainly taking this Tim Boetsch challenge very seriously tonight.
He got nicknamed for all of them. He calls him Michael Running Bisping and Yoel Dirty Romero.
All right, with that backdrop, the tail of the tape is brought to you by Ultimate Beastmaster, where tapping out isn't an option. February 24th, only on Netflix. Jacare Souza, 37. Tim Boetsch is 36. Souza 1 inch taller. Both men weighed in at 186 pounds. Tim Boetsch enters the octagon with a 2-inch reach advantage. All right, now for the official introductions, the venerable Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC middleweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a freestyle fighter holding a professional record, 20 wins, 10 losses. He stands 6 feet tall, weighing in at 186 pounds. Fighting out of Sunbury, Pennsylvania, by way of Lincolnville, Maine, Tim the Barbarian Boetsch. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner. This man is a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 23 wins, 4 losses, 1 no contest. He stands 6 feet 1 inch tall, weighing in at 186 pounds. Fighting out of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, presenting a former Strikeforce middleweight champion and the number 3 ranked middleweight contender in the world, Ronaldo Jacare Souza! And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Dan Mergliata.
Dan Mergliata, our referee for this featured bout in the UFC middleweight division. Vanessa Hansen, thank you very much. Jacare Souza, the minus 550 favorite. Comeback on Tim Boetsch at plus 375. Boetsch trying to make it 3 straight wins, and seemingly overnight would vault into middleweight title contention. Boetsch in the blue trunks, Souza is in black.
So Boetsch has got to use his wrestling to try to keep this fight standing and use his power to try to discourage Jacare closing the distance.
That's so much easier said than done because Jacare is so fast. But look at the size of Tim Boetsch. Look at how thick he is. And, you know, you could tell that he fought at 205 at one point.
Boetsch tonight trying to become the first man in more than 9 years to finish Jacare Souza, the former Strikeforce middleweight champion.
You've seen a lot of head movement from Tim Boetsch. Does not want to stand in front of those missiles that Jacare is going to launch his way. Jacare just coiled back like a spring.
Boetsch said you have to take these opportunities. Look at that shot from far away by Jacare. Good defense by Tim Boetsch. Nice uppercut.
But Jacare's got the clinch. Still.
That's the issue, is staying in tight. When you start throwing those inside uppercuts, that's the issue. The guy's still close enough to try to attempt takedowns.
Pretty good early sign for Tim Boetsch, who figures to try to gain some separation here. Easier said than done. Right hand over the top is there for Souza.
And that's a good sign right there so far for Tim Boetsch. He was able to stop that takedown.
You know, Boetsch is moving his head, but he's actually moving his hands at the same time. So his hands are actually really, really low standing in front of Jacare.
Always. That's how he always fights. He always keeps them right below his chest. So that's just his style. I mean, I don't know why he prefers that. You could say maybe it's to hit those underhooks when he sprawls.
He's developed real nasty uppercuts whenever he does defend takedowns. You get close, man. He starts throwing those uppercuts. Nice body shot.
And he's got Tim Boetsch up against the cage. Oh, Tim Boetsch rocked him.
Halo Wars 2 available February 21st on Xbox One and Windows 10. Get the Ultimate Edition and play 4 days early.
Boetsch keeping him honest with that. Oh, caught the leg kick. There's the takedown.
Yep.
Jacare moving into full mount here, trying to get past that the right leg of Tim Bosch. He's going to step over and be in side control. He's there. He's got his back to the cage. This is a terrible position for Tim Bosch early.
And plenty of time with which to work for Jacare
Look at that.
Souza.
Slices that knee, wants to put it across. And the Brazilians in the crowd start their chant.
2 minutes to go in round one. Good spot here for Souza.
Jacare is going to try to slide that knee across the stomach, and the amount of pressure that he generates in doing that is incredible. But Tim Bosch managed to get that left knee into play.
Yep.
Jacare is going to hop over the top of it.
It's just effortless, man. It's just effortless.
Now Tim Bosch is in big trouble, and not a lot of time.
You don't want to get taken down by a guy like Jacare early, when you're still dry and everything can be used, you know? Like, as the fight goes longer, you become slippery, but right now, he's still dry.
Oh, look at that. He's going for the arm.
Oh, man, he's got it. He's got it.
He's got it. Oh, Bosch is in big trouble. That's it. That's it.
Jacare Souza by submission.
It does not take long. Wow.
No, he gets a hold of anything and he finishes it.
Well, you talk about taking care of business and preserving your spot near the top. He's been on a collision course for that world title. Jacare Souza once again will be hard to deny.
I mean, he really did clamp down on that arm like the jaws of an alligator. And Tim Bosch, they got ice on that shoulder. He grabbed it, yanked it, twisted it up behind Tim Bosch's back. I mean, there's very few guys in MMA that have the kind of submission skills that man possesses.
Back-to-back first-round stoppage wins for Jacare Souza. Once it's official, it'll be his 14th career win by submission. And when you come in here as a minus 550 favorite, DC, you talked about the lines. Winning sometimes isn't enough, right? You need those style points. Certainly Jacare got him tonight. The fight replay is brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for
Watch
you.
how he grabs a hold of the arm once he gets him to the ground. Bosch lands a nice leg kick. Jacare gets the takedown. And as soon as Jacare gets the takedown, you see him slide over the top of that knee. I mean, just his ability to achieve positions is so high level. And Bosch in dire straits here. Only a minute and a half to go, but then Jacare clamps down on that arm. And once he does, Bosch is in a world of trouble. Left leg goes over the top of the neck, and Bosch is immediately tapping. I mean, just, you see how deep that Kimura was behind his back. I mean, that is just nasty. That is tearing his shoulder apart. Horrible.
Yeah, you know, it's like he took the mount so easy. You know, it's not like he's grappling against guys that have no grappling. He is just on a different level in terms of jiu-jitsu, and he applies it to mixed martial arts better than about anybody in this entire game. Great win for Jacare Souza.
The official decision is brought to you by Metro PCS. Get a fast nationwide 4G LTE network for only $30 period. Wireless figured out. Bruce Buffer now.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Dan Mergliata has called a stop to this contest at 3 minutes, 41 seconds of the very first round, declaring the winner by submission due to a Kimura, Ronaldo Jacare Souza.
I'm here with the winner, Jacare. First of all, congratulations on another spectacular submission. You took this fight, and it was a very dangerous fight in that you are one of the top-ranked contenders in the division. Tim Bosch is not, and it was very risky in that way.
Parabéns, mais uma finalização espetacular. Você pegou uma luta muito arriscada. O Tim Bosch não era, você é um dos melhores da divisão, um dos mais altos da divisão, e o Tim Bosch não era. O que você acha?
Primeiramente, first,
Hello, New York! Hello, you guys! I come to be the champion! I do my best. I am the next to fight for the middleweight title.
You have been in line to fight for the title for quite a while now. Has it been frustrating for you to wait this long?
Você está em linha pelo título há bastante tempo. É frustrante se esperar esse tempo todo?
vai ser pior. Quanto mais tempo me deixarem esperando, vai ser pior, que eu vou voltar mais treinado e ninguém vai frustrar o meu sonho. Meu sonho é ser campeão mundial e ninguém vai me parar. Se quiser perguntar quem vai ser o próximo, me pergunta pra mim, porque eu vou lutar. O Luke tá correndo, que eu sei.
O Bispo é um desastre para a categoria porque ele não quer lutar com ninguém.
It's going to get worse. The more they frustrate me, the more I want it. I'm going to become champion. This thing, you have to stop running. Luke, you have to stop running.
Congratulations, sir. One of the best in the world. Ronaldo Jacare Souza, ladies and gentlemen.
And I think Alex Davis liked interpreting that response from Jacare Souza, 24-4, after the big win tonight by submission over Tim Boetsch. A lot of star power in the building tonight, not the least of which is the UFC featherweight contender, Yair Pantera Rodriguez. Documentary on that young man coming up later this year. And DC, there's your boy, your teammate, Khabib Nurmagomedov, 24-0, finally getting a championship opportunity when we return to pay-per-view next month.
You know, man, not many guys can get to 24-0. You have a hiccup at some point. Khabib has had no hiccup, but this is the toughest fight. As much as we believe in Khabib and we believe he will get the job done, Tony Ferguson is the one guy in the division that we feel can match up well with Khabib. Very long, very tough, and that's the thing. If you're gonna fight Khabib Nurmagomedov, you have got to be tough. And Tony Ferguson is as tough as they come. This is a big fight. Khabib says it. He goes, Conor McGregor's gonna run it. This is for the real lightweight championship. It does not matter what he's doing.
I couldn't agree with you more. Tony Ferguson is a straight killer, and he's got a very well-rounded skill set. He has outstanding submissions, very good grappling as well, knockout power in his hands, and maybe even more important, he's durable, incredibly tough and durable, because Nurmagomedov has been able to just crush guys. He gets a hold of you, and it's almost like guys who are black belts and great wrestlers just don't know how to wrestle anymore.
Yeah.
He's so good. I mean, the level of grappling that he has shown inside the octagon has just been, in my opinion, as good as I've ever seen.
This dude hand fights with me for 45 minutes a day, John Anderson. Me.
And Joe,
That's incredible.
Your friend Eddie Bravo corners Tony Ferguson, says he trains for like 6-7 hours straight. That is your interim lightweight championship fight.
Amazing
The
fight.
Chin and Cam brought to you by Halo Wars 2, available February 21st on Xbox One and Windows 10. Get the Ultimate Edition and play 4 days early. Well, before you watch Anderson Silva battle Derek Brunson in the octagon, check out this clip of Ultimate Beastmaster featuring Silva in Netflix's first reality competition series on February 24th.
This is Ultimate Beastmaster.
Well, last November, the top two welterweights in the world took advantage of the Madison Square Garden spotlight, and next month they will take their rivalry to the Las Vegas Strip to run it back.
And the welterweight title fight. It was a great fight, fight of the night on one of the biggest cards.
It was one of the best fights of the year. I think they have some unsettled business there.
There was a lot of back and forth the past couple weeks and months between you and Wonderboy about getting back in the octagon again for a rematch.
This fight is considered a majority draw.
Tyron Woodley versus Stephen Wonderboy Thompson 2 will take place for the UFC welterweight title. When you see two guys that were incredibly closely matched, it makes the rematch all the more intriguing, because Tyron, who is so successful in taking Wonderboy down in that first round, never really attempted to take him down again. Does he do that in the second fight? Wonderboy Thompson, who got taken down off of a kick and then completely adjusted his game and became much more boxing oriented and severely limited his kick output after that. Does he do the same thing in the second fight? Does he try even harder to work on his boxing technique? Oh, he hurt him again! Goodness! Wonderboy's in big trouble here. I want to see what changes Tyron Woodley has made from the first fight to the second fight.
This belt ain't going anywhere until I get done fighting.
And the same for Wonderboy Thompson. A lot of what determines who wins when it comes to a rematch of an incredibly close fight comes down to who makes the proper adjustments.
Oh! Another spinning attack! Another knockdown!
And can you calculate what your opponent's adjustments will be? It's a very, very interesting rematch, and a rematch for one of the most important titles in the UFC today.
So how about that to get you hyped for the rematch between Tyron Woodley and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson? We show you the updated welterweight rankings. Nice to see Jorge Gamebred Masvidal crack the top 5, but of course the championship fight all about Woodley and Wonderboy. DC, Tyron Woodley really trying to cement his championship legacy and end this series here with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
You know, T. Wood feels as though he hasn't garnered the respect that he deserves. He feels like he's the best fighter in the division, and he's shown it by knocking out Robbie Lawler, and he thought he beat Stephen Thompson the first time. Now, is there an easier way for Tyron Woodley to beat Stephen Thompson? Use his wrestling. But T. Wood wants to prove a point. He said the first time was the time that Stephen Thompson had a chance to win because he hadn't felt it. It's going to be ugly this time, according to Tyron Woodley.
But what's interesting is that when you look at Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's game in other fights, it was very kick-oriented. But in this fight, he was much more hands-oriented. He stayed away from that takedown attempt after the first round. Wonderboy, who's an undefeated kickboxer, one of the very best strikers we've ever seen inside the octagon, has a really unusual style to deal with because it's mostly sport karate-based. Incredibly weird angles that the kicks and punches come from. He moves back and forth from the waist like a snake. But I agree with you. The way Woodley took him down that first round and beat him up and controlled him, I was shocked that he didn't try to do that again. But then again, he devastated him in the 4th round and hurt him. And it was still a close fight because it still came to a draw. So Wonderboy managed to peck at him and land some strikes. But when it comes to damage, Woodley did more damage. Now the question is, with the new scoring system, is that first round a 10-8? Is it a 10-7? What is it now? And if that's the case,
that 4th would for sure have been a 10-8.
No doubt.
And so would the 4th. The 4th and the 1st.
Right. The 4th for sure.
So the 4th for sure, perhaps the 1st.
Yeah.
Then what's the score like?
Yeah.
It's really interesting. It's a great fight.
It's a great fight.
So the championship doubleheader coming up at UFC 209, Woodley versus Thompson 2. T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas, Nevada, live on pay-per-view. Tickets are still available. But now these UFC rankings brought to you by Ultimate Beastmaster, where tapping out isn't an option. February 24th, only on Netflix. All right, so here's the top 12 at 185 pounds. Anderson Silva, Derek Brunson, DC, right there still in the mix here in this division.
Yeah, Anderson Silva's not going anywhere. You know, he came on UFC tonight and he said, I like to win, but it's more important for me to be happy. Fighting makes him happy.
Right.
That's why he's here tonight. But he's not far off, because as Dana White said once, he goes, Anderson's like Tom Brady of the UFC. It doesn't take much for him to be around the championship, so Anderson looks impressive tonight. He can find himself moving his way up these rankings very fast.
Not only that, he had a very controversial loss to the champion, Michael Bisping. It was very controversial. It was very close. He knocked him down with a nasty flying knee. He thought the fight was over. He walked away. There was a lot going on in that fight. Then he comes from that fight, he fights you, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
He just takes a last-minute fight against the light heavyweight champ.
But that's what he said, though. Fighting makes him happy, so he loves being here. Now tonight, he's got his hands full with Derek Brunson.
He certainly does, and I'm really excited to get this started.
So arguably the greatest of all time has come to Brooklyn tonight. Anderson Silva will still have to dig deep into his bag of tricks to turn back the challenge of rising star Derek Brunson.
There has never been anyone like that man right there.
At one time, the best fighter living, pound for pound.
Eu não tenho mais o desejo e a vontade de provar alguma coisa para alguém. Eu faço tudo que eu faço e continuo lutando porque eu amo lutar.
Silva, the greatest champion in UFC history.
I've been putting in a lot of work, and I've been watching this guy for a long time, competing, and just waiting for that marquee fight that's going to take my career to the next level. And here it is, getting a win over a guy like this who's, you know, carried our sport for so long. Definitely going to have a whole new group of people looking at your career.
Anderson Silva versus Derek Brunson is a classic matchup between a young, up-and-coming contender versus the greatest mixed martial artist of all time. When you look at the overall career of Anderson Silva, his devastating front kick knockout of Vitor Belfort, If you look at the way he ragdolled Chael Sonnen in their rematch, you look at the way he destroyed Stephan Bonner. He is the greatest mixed martial artist of all time.
Bom, meu adversário é um garoto novo, né? O Derek Bronson tem bastante experiência no MMA e é um desafio para o meu conhecimento marcial.
But Anderson Silva is 41 years old, and he's facing a young, hungry lion in Derek Brunson.
Brunson, that hurt him. He's not going to finish him right now.
One of the things that makes Derek Brunson so exciting is how aggressive he is. Win, lose, or draw, he is going to go at you with everything he has, and if he loses, he will go out on his shield.
Rock'em sock'em, Brunson continues to land with that left hand.
When you start putting together a streak and just taking guys out pretty quickly, it definitely shows you, hey, you're up there, you know, you can be finishing these guys, and now is your time.
Vou procurar desenvolver o meu jogo, ele vai tentar desenvolver o dele e vai vencer o melhor.
North Carolina native Derek Brunson comes in ranked number 8 in the world. Joe, he was all the rage when he showed up in Australia Thanksgiving week to fight Robert Whittaker in the main event. And as he put it, just got a little bit greedy that night and lost his momentum trying to gain it back tonight.
Well, that aggression really worked for him in other fights. I mean, he's got some nasty power, and that aggression worked for him in his previous fight against Uriah Hall, who's a very talented striker. So he gambled and he lost. And, you know, he took that chance against a really talented and durable guy in Robert Whittaker. Robert Whittaker is just very intelligent, very well schooled, weathered the storm, and stopped it. So then the question is, he has been stopped before. He's got stopped by Yoel Romero and came back better than ever and went on that fantastic run. The question is, does this alter his style at all? Does he temper it? Does he pull it back a little bit and not be so wild and crazy? And as DC was saying, rely on those strong wrestling skills, which you feel would be a problem with Anderson even in his prime.
Yeah, even in his prime. Guys, Biggie in Brooklyn, in WWE or in the professional wrestling world, they call that a cheap pump. Brunson went for the cheap pump, playing the Brooklyn music. But aside from everything else, this guy's a fantastic fighter, fantastic wrestler.
The Prep Point brought to you by Halo Wars 2, available February 21st on Xbox One and Windows 10. Get the Ultimate Edition and play 4 days early. Anderson Silva's got nearly every record in the book, but it's actually Derek Brunson who had the longest knockout streak in UFC middleweight history. I've got to imagine, though, for a fighter, it's sort of hard in your own mental space, right? Because what ultimately got him into the top 10 was that aggressive style. So mentally, I think he's dealing with a lot of different challenges tonight as he tries to figure out how to approach this obvious challenge of the all-time great Anderson Silva.
It's a good point. I mean, 4 stoppage victories in a row against some really talented opposition. He gambled, and it paid off a lot. But the question is he gonna be that confident against a virtuoso like Anderson Silva, even at 41 years of age?
Before the fight starts, very important, you cannot get starstruck when you fight Anderson Silva.
What was the experience like for you looking across the octagon and seeing Anderson Silva? That's the perfect way to describe it. You don't use words. There he is.
43rd professional fight and 22nd UFC appearance for the longtime UFC middleweight champion Anderson Silva. He started his UFC career 16-0. That is still a UFC record. And Joe, here during fight week, mentally, physically, all signs point to him really never having been in a better place. He seems ready to go.
I've been a big fan of Anderson Silva long before he ever entered into the octagon. I remember watching him fight at Pride. I watched him fight in Cage Wars in Europe. He's amazing. And when he first came to the UFC and fought Chris Lieben, one of the things that I said about him is this is a different kind of striker. And I think that he ushered in many ways, the new era of MMA. He had a skill level that was unprecedented in the UFC until then, particularly in his ability to counter-strike and pick guys apart. He's just a magician inside the octagon. He's had such amazing performances, and his ability to figure out your timing, find out where your openings are, and then capitalize. When you watch him fight like Yushin Okami. Takes his time in the beginning, sees your timing, finds out where you're weak, and then boom, lays the hammer down on you. Same thing with Vitor Belfort. Finds the opening, looks for it, takes his time, looks for it, and then boom, explodes that front kick to the face. He's just an incredibly talented striker, and I believe that what he has done with his career and his legacy is raise the bar in every area for all martial artists.
You see his sons, DC, right behind him, 18 and 19 now. Pretty incredible.
And we saw him as children. We saw him walk into this octagon as children. Anderson Silva's journey has just been amazing. Now, for all the people that say, well, Derek Brunson, for him to win this fight, he just has to go take Anderson down. When Anderson and I fought, John, I took him down 3 times, right? That is the most that anyone's taken him down in a fight. That matches the most takedowns he's ever given up. So when he came on UFC tonight and said, I'm in my own weight class, the takedowns will not be that easy. He has proof to back that up. He's not just spewing anything. When he fought Chael, he only got taken down a few times. Right. So if he believes he's not going to give up takedowns to Brunson, I have to go, okay, I believe Anderson Silva, because he has the data to prove that by only giving up that many over the course of that many fights as he's had.
And Derek Brunson's really a volume takedown guy, right? He averages about 10 attempts or so per 15 minutes. So we shall see how it plays out, how Brunson approaches this fight here tonight. Anderson Silva also very excited. This is his first time fighting in New York. So 43 pro fights, finally getting to fight here in New York. So seems buoyed by that this week. But physically, just really seems to be in great shape. He'll be 42 in April. And in a lot of respects, some suggest maybe slowing down a little bit, but I think a good litmus test for him here tonight against the number 8 guy in the world.
Physically and mentally, he seems in a good space. We interviewed him on Wednesday, and he just seemed like he was so at home and comfortable, man. This place, everybody's standing up right now for Anderson Silva. This place is so loud, which says how great these headphones are we're wearing, because I can actually hear you guys. But I mean, Anderson Silva is the greatest fighter of all time, and I'm excited to take this in. My question is he going to force Brunson into panic wrestling, we call it, when the guy starts shooting because he's in danger?
Detail the tape is brought to you by Ultimate Beastmaster, where tapping out isn't an option. February 24th only on Netflix. As we mentioned, Anderson Silva will be 42 in April. Derek Brunson turned 33 in January. Silva 1 inch taller, 185 pounds for the former champ. Brunson weighed in 186 pounds. Both men have a reach of 77 inches. And now to get you the introductions for the co-main event, here's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the co-main event of the evening. Presented by Ultimate Beastmaster, where tapping out isn't an option. February 24th, only on Netflix. And this hilarious new comedy, Fist Fight, starring Ice Cube and Charlie Day, in theaters February 17th. And now, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC middleweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a wrestler holding a professional record, 16 wins, 4 losses. He stands 6 feet 1 inch tall, weighing in at 186 pounds. Fighting out of Wilmington, North Carolina, presenting the number 8 ranked middleweight contender in the world, Derek Brunson! And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a Muay Thai kickboxer and jiu-jitsu fighter, holding a professional record, 33 wins, 8 losses, 1 draw. He stands 6 feet 2 inches tall, weighing in at 185 pounds, fighting out of Curitiba, Brazil, presenting the number 7 ranked UFC middleweight contender in the world and the former UFC middleweight champion, Anderson the Spider Silva! Under the active begins, our referee in charge, Germaine.
Capacity crowd at Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Many of them here to see Anderson Silva.
Thank you.
Try to add yet another chapter to perhaps the greatest legacy this octagon has ever seen. Silva in the center of the octagon wearing yellow. Derek Brunson is in white once again. Southpaw versus Southpaw here. It will be very interesting to see how Brunson approaches the early portions of this fight, given what his recent history has held.
In his last fight at this point, he was already charging at Robert Whitaker.
Well, one of the things about Anderson is that the problems that he's had in the past have been against guys that would not lead. When you go to the Patrick Cote fight, there was a lot of uneventful moments in that fight because Patrick Cote fought a very smart strategy. Talis Leites did the same thing. A lot of guys just stand in front of him and let Anderson lead. Anderson will let you make the mistake. And when you do, he's a master counter striker. But he's willing to be patient and get boosts.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, though, he's so good when he starts to feint and move his hips and start switching at you, that you start to react to all the actions that he's doing so he can get his offense off.
John Anik, Joe Rogan, Daniel Cormier on hand. UFC 208. Holm versus Randamie. The inaugural UFC Women's Featherweight Championship follows this co-main event here. Anderson Silva, slight betting underdog tonight against Derek Brunson, to the surprise of some.
That's kind of crazy. But interesting, you know? Because when you see a guy when he's 40, oh, nice right hook counter. When you see a guy that's 41, you always wonder, like, when is he going to lose the ability to pull the trigger? Because that is something that you see in older fighters. It's just one day, they just can't. Oh, doesn't look like it's today.
You see it, though. You see every time Derek starts to take the lead, Anderson is able to counter.
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
And they're not landing clean yet. But, I mean, if you're not careful, it doesn't take many.
Because Derek is being impatient, and Anderson's being very patient. And when you're standing in front of him, you feel like you should do something. Because he's not doing anything.
Yep.
And even when he's throwing that kick, he's a bit tentative. Because Anderson has already got his respect. And now Anderson's leading. And that's the timing that we were talking about. He figures out your timing.
Brunson on a single leg. But you saw that, Joe. Derek had to switch. Derek had to switch his he had to drop his level because Anderson started to pressure him, John.
Underhook for Brunson, starting to pound away here a little bit on Silva as we approach the midpoint of round one.
Well, you're definitely seeing way more respect from Derek Brunson than he showed to Robert Whitaker or even Uriah Hall.
Right.
But Derek has that explosive ability, like you saw in the Uriah Hall fight, where it seems like not much is happening, and then boom, fight's over.
No denying Brunson as a plus athlete. Good instincts. See if he goes to the kicking game a little bit tonight against Silva.
You just got to be very careful leading here. And for Anderson, this is what he wants. He's already established his respect. He's landed a couple of shots. Oh. Oh!
This is where you got to be careful to watch Anderson. He starts to kind of move his hands, then he'll start to move his hips. And if you watch, you'll get caught. Nice right hand by Brunson. Double leg attempt.
Yeah, Brunson tagged him with that left hand. Oh, tagged him with the right. Nice knee to the body by Anderson. Anderson got caught with a couple of punches there in that clinch.
Now Derek's starting to actually be a little more active with his hands.
And watch for Anderson's back heel to come off the ground. You see that back heel coming off the ground? He might very well throw a high kick.
I think as Anderson's gotten older, he doesn't kick nearly as much as he used to back in his prime. And all the weapons is what made him so dangerous.
Inside leg kick is there for Brunson. The takedown defense for Silva has held up on 2 Brunson attempts thus far. Under a minute now to go round one.
There was a very nice leg kick by Brunson. You got to go back to that very bizarre moment when Anderson landed that flying knee on Michael Bisping and thought the fight was over, walked away with his hands up.
Not a great shot there by Brunson.
See, there it is. You got to be careful
with
there.
Body.
That would hurt him a little bit.
Oh, real kick. Right hand. Brunson with an uppercut. Oh, Brunson landed some hard shots.
Yep. He's right that time. Oh, uppercut.
Silva's chin is held up thus far. Final seconds here, round one.
Oh, he went for a flying knee and fell. Wow.
Good round for Derek Brunson. Very good round. When
Very
he
good
inside
round.
of himself. Yeah.
With those punches in the clinch. Those are real hard shots. And kind of surprising that Anderson stood there and absorbed them like that.
He was trying to collect the tie clinch.
This corner cam is brought to you by Halo Wars 2, available February 21st on Xbox One and Windows 10. Get the Ultimate Edition and play 4 days early.
Ótimo. Pode, claro. Pode não, deve.
Sit down.
Isso, tá bom.
That's it, good.
Vamos olhar a boca. Deixa eu te falar. Não vamos dar mais chance. A hora que ganhar o clinch, bate logo.
Don't take a chance. When you get him in the clinch, hit him.
Não clinch, não, ele já bateu.
You already hit him.
Tá bom? Ele não sabe andar pra trás.
He doesn't know how to walk backwards.
Pra poder chutar do outro lado.
Walk to your side so you can kick.
Exatamente. Vamos andar pra tua direita.
Walk to your right
Vamos andar pra
so that you can kick with your left. Walk to your left so you can kick with your right. You don't have to walk forward.
Exatamente. Anda nas costas dele, chuta o joelho esquerdo, de direita.
And here we go. You see Anderson with that wheel kick blocked by Derek Brunson. You see him shaking his head there and lands a punch. And then look at Derek Brunson landing these shots. Uppercut, uppercut, uppercut. I mean, Anderson is trying to move with them, and there's that flying knee attempt, completely missed.
Even though if he wouldn't have missed that, Derek Brunson did a good job of actually covering his head, covering his face, and when he got in the position and Anderson went for that tie clinch, he did let his hands go and landed some really good punches in there. But I thought he did. I'm sorry, John.
No, all good. Round two here. 3 takedown attempts for Brunson in round one. At least 2 of them very much telegraphed.
I thought Derek did a fantastic job of just staying within himself that first round, fighting the urge to just go out and get into a firefight.
Yeah, he's definitely showing Anderson a lot of respect. There's the shot, sprawl. Very nicely done by Anderson.
Nice sprawl by Anderson.
Beautiful sprawl.
Silva comes in tonight tied for first all-time with 14 UFC finishes.
In my eyes, Brunson looks very tentative.
Yeah.
Looks timid, the way he's throwing these shots, non-committal. And that could wind him in big trouble if Anderson gets his groove.
It seems like he's watching, you know, he's doing a good job. He's actually landing strikes, but it's just, I think it's so different from the Derek Brunson that we have been seeing in his last 4, 5, 6 fights.
He had a different look in his eye when he made the walk tonight. Perhaps Robert Whittaker deserves some credit for that. Silva on the counter. 15 of Silva's 22 UFC fights have ended inside of 10 minutes. 3.5 here to go round 2.
But like Joe said, you know, Anderson will lull you into that slower type of fight. We talked about this earlier. As you get older, you got to make these young athletic guys fight the way you want them to fight. And Anderson's doing that right now.
And he's just waiting for Derek to make a slip. And Derek caught him with the left hand over the top, but Anderson rolled with it.
Silva just out of range with that attack.
You got to wonder if Anderson likes throwing that left kick anymore because of that knee that he kicked against Chris Weidman and broke his shin, because he's throwing knees.
Brunson complaining to the referee about an eye poke. The action continues. Takedown for Brunson, his first of the fight.
Nice takedown by Brunson.
And this is huge for Brunson. Look at this. Anderson nicely done. Right back up to his feet.
Anderson just did a little bit of a chest wrap just to create some momentum. Use the momentum to get back to his feet, but now Brunson is in a double underhook position.
Anderson pummeled under quickly.
Nice pummel by Anderson Silva. Now he has to circle back to that underhook.
68% takedown D for Silva coming in. His teammate Wally Alves said in advance of this one, the star is back. Silva certainly showing several signs of life tonight as we approach the 2-minute mark in round 2.
Well, the pace of this fight has been excellent for him. I mean, this is really where the kind of pace that he fights at his best.
Derek's doing a good job of keeping that underhook high, not allowing Anderson to circle his back off the fence.
Elbow lands for Silva, the significant strike story thus far. Derek Brunson doubling up on Anderson Silva. Brunson lands the uppercut, not a ton behind it. Just over a minute now to go in the round.
Derek actually gave him space to actually get off the fence. Now another double leg shot by Brunson.
Way on the outside.
But I think the shot is just to get back to the clinch. As long as he's in close, he feels safe.
Looked like Brunson maybe asked his corner how much time was left in the round.
Anderson's gonna have to pick it up though. Right now he's falling behind, just based on activity.
Silva's last 3 fights have all gone the distance. Able to touch Brunson there with the jab. That got Derek's attention.
And that answers the question whether or not he wants to kick with that left leg.
Clearly that right eye is still bothering Derek Brunson.
Uh-oh, he's doing some capoeira on him.
Punctuates it with a body kick.
Again, Derek cannot just start watching there. When Anderson starts to do that, he's still got to fight his fight. He's still got to be his offense.
Beautiful
nice jab. Yep. Nice quick jab by Silva.
And you hope the judges aren't impressionable when it comes to the crowd noise, but every time Silva moves, this place goes nuts. 10 minutes down.
Whoa. People Bean's not playing. He's getting a little excited. Go on, let's take somebody
He
down.
wants a little bit of action.
No. You gotta turn it up, dude. All right, let's get some deep breaths. Take that water whenever you want it.
Hey, bring it down a minute again. Calm your heart rate down. Calm yourself down. Listen to me. You're giving this guy too much respect there. You're giving him too much respect. You're faster, you hit harder, and if you hit and do takedowns, you're gonna have a great fight. When you got up against the cage, break and blast.
Pra tua esquerda. Chute de direita.
You gotta keep walking to your right and kick with your left.
Só vai ser clinch.
The knees are only gonna land in the clinch, okay?
Você entendeu?
You got it?
Isso, eu quero que você chute com a
That's it.
esquerda.
Kick with your left leg.
Isso. Você olha
That's
pra
it.
ele, tá com a perna esquerda. Esquerda.
This live look inside a sold-out Barclays Center is brought to you by Halo Wars 2, available February 21st on Xbox One and Windows 10. Get the Ultimate Edition and play 4 days early.
Step back a little bit. Step back, please. Step back.
Third and final round, Anderson Silva and Derek Brunson. DC, your thoughts on the message from Greg Jackson to Derek Brunson after round 2?
You know, I think it's risky. You know, I feel like he's winning the fight, but Greg's like, man, if you just go and do your thing, you'll have a great fight. But I feel like he's winning 2 rounds to 0, so I don't know if he's saying you need to be impressive in winning.
Yeah, I didn't like that advice at all. This is what I would tell him to do.
Right.
Nice whizzer by Anderson.
Nice knee to the body there by Anderson as well. And there's a nice uppercut, or excuse me, a left hand. I think this is where Derek Brunson does his best work, when he's in the clinch. I don't think you should try to stay on the outside and strike with Anderson Silva at all. I think you should let Anderson lead. And there's a nice, what a beautiful sprawl by Anderson.
When did Anderson learn to wrestle like this?
Maybe he learned from fighting you.
My goodness.
Yeah, I was just going to say, he stuffed 7 of 8 Brunson shots thus far. 4 minutes now to decide this one.
Yeah, he looks very strong in the clinch here as well.
But Brunson's doing a good job. He's doing a good job of actually dictating and controlling his fight. You know, it may not be, as dominant as the performances he had against Uriah Hall and those guys, but he's doing a good job of managing and dictating the pace of this fight. He's got to be careful here now. Every time they're on the outside, he needs to be careful.
There's a beautiful jab by Anderson. Now, standing in the center of the octagon with more than 3 minutes to go is where it can get interesting in any Anderson Silva fight.
Yeah. Silva increasingly in this part of his career has really picked his spots with his striking. He's on the wrong end of the significant strike equation here tonight.
But at this point, John, does he have to do more? I mean, at 41 years old, you know, can you pick those spots now when you haven't won a fight for a few years? You got to go. You know, you got to go. You cannot allow Derek Brunson to continue to pick the pace.
Well, in his mind, he won the Michael Bisping fight, though his hand was not raised.
Yep. And the Diaz fight.
Beautiful kick to the body. And the Diaz fight.
Yeah.
But that fight obviously test positive for a banned substance, and so it was ruled a no contest, but he did win the decision.
But as he pressures Derek, now he's getting Derek to actually open up and fight it.
Yes. And again, this weird war inside the clinch where Anderson's letting Derek punch him.
Derek seems to be starting to tire a little bit.
Yeah, that came very slow.
Silva pushing those toes down.
Left hand landed for Silva. Nice jab by Brunson.
Silva doesn't seem to fear the power coming back his way from Brunson.
He just looks very calm and relaxed in there.
All those missed shots take a toll on you.
Andy Hook style. Wheel kick to the leg. Did he get him in the cup?
Didn't appear to.
Referee didn't say anything. Anderson's being very respectful. You don't have to stop him. The ref doesn't stop you.
Yeah, I would like to see the replay to see where that landed.
Brunson goes back to the jab now, under 2 minutes to go. Silva just missed on the counter, lands the left hand. Another level change from Brunson.
Nice angle change by Derek Brunson to finish this takedown.
Not much time to go, and this is big for Brunson if he can get some shots off here from the top.
See a lot of fighters with about a minute and change to go in the round go to that takedown in a potentially close round. 2 of 11 now is Brunson for the takedowns tonight. You don't know what the scorecards say, guys, but if you're Silva here fighting off your back, not a great look.
No, you don't know the scorecards, but you got to have an idea that this fight hasn't gone according to plan, right, Joe?
Yeah, I would imagine. But it's been fairly uneventful. Regardless of who you think might be winning, no one's winning big.
Yeah.
But this is a big moment for Brunson, but he's not doing anything with it.
Let's go, guys.
So the question is, with this new scoring, is this enough that he was able to secure the takedown but not do anything with it? Because he's not getting anything off while he's on top. And for Anderson, it's imperative with only 30 seconds to go that if he doesn't get back up to his feet, he at least threatens from the bottom to kind of mitigate this potential lead.
Brunson staying busy enough here for Yves Levine. Silva lands the up elbow.
Yeah, but there's a good shot from the bottom, but it's not enough. You know, the only guy to ever win from the bottom with shots is Bas Rutten against Kevin Randamie, and it almost started a riot when the decision was announced. I got a screaming phone call from Gene LaBelle after that.
So in the co-main event, Anderson Silva, Derek Brunson go the 15-minute distance. 4th consecutive fight for Silva. That has gone the distance. This fight replay is brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you.
I got the feeling that Anderson Silva was having a good time. And there's the wheel kick that he attempted. I mean, you definitely think that Anderson still enjoys competing. And here it was great for Brunson. A lot of shots landed here for Brunson. And there's a nice left hand for Brunson. And Anderson moves with it. There's a nice jab by Anderson. And there's another one.
Uppercuts on the inside by Derek.
Weirdness going on in the center of the octagon right now.
At first they were kind of hugging on their knees and they just decided to sit down. I mean,
yeah, it's very, very strange position they're in here. They're just talking to each other, hugging it out.
They're just kind of telling each other how great you did. You did awesome.
And what a moment for Brunson, right? To be sitting there.
It really does feel like look at that Anderson raises his arms. It just really does feel like Anderson is a different place in his life right now and is enjoying competing.
But that's what he said. You know, when we interviewed him, he goes, I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy. You know, the victory is important, but I really want to be happy. And he seems happy.
He just has such an infectious energy and way about him, and that was really omnipresent here during his 22nd UFC fight week. And for Derek Brunson, whose last 5 fights have ended in the first round, some valuable experience gained tonight against a man still considered by many to be the greatest mixed martial artist of all time. Brunson trying to move to 8-2 inside the octagon and make it wins in 5 of his last 6. The official decision brought to you by Metro PCS.
Niner!
Get a fast nationwide 4G LTE network for only $30 period. Wireless, figured out. Bruce Buffer now has your official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for decision. The judges score the contest 29-28, 29-28, and 30-27 for the winner by unanimous decision, Anderson the Spider Silva!
I'm here with the winner, Anderson Silva. Anderson, you seem overcome with emotion. Please tell us how you feel right now.
Você parece muito emocionado. Como é que você está se sentindo agora?
Você merece a vitória. Você merece. Oh my gosh. First of all, thank you for everybody here tonight. Thank you, New York. Thank you for your support. I'm very happy. You know, thank you. Thank you, Dana. Thank you, UFC, and thank you, my friends here, my family, my sons, and first of all, God. Yeah, God. And you know, I working hard for a long time in my life for fighting here, and I just put in my heart all the time. Sometimes I have a pain in my leg, pain in my back. Sometimes I just look for my family and say I go to training for 3 months, 4 months, and now when I come here for fights, just for coming here for giving for everybody here, my the best. And sorry, I know I'm too old for fight. I know the old guys in here is too fast for me, strong, but I put in my heart because fight is my life. Fight is my heart. This is me. It's fight.
Anderson, you've had such an incredible career, but it seems now that you are still enjoying competing. You seem to be enjoying yourself inside the octagon. Is that true?
So, when I come here, when I come inside this cage, I put in my life, all my life, stay inside when I stay in the cage, because I respect everybody here. I respect the UFC fans, and I just come to fight happy, because I love my job, I love UFC, I love my fans in the world, and for a long time it's my dream fighting here in New York, you know, yeah, oh God, I don't believe in this. I thank you guys, thank you.
I've had the honor and the pleasure to call so many of your fights, and it's so nice to see you happy here and see you overcome with emotion and to see you win again. Thank you very much, sir, for an incredible career and one more great fight.
One more thing. I need to say thank you for my friend Michael Costa helped me a lot. Thank you, brother. Thank you for everything. Thank you.
One of the greatest of all time, ladies and gentlemen, Anderson Silva.
An emotional night for the future Hall of Famer. You see his two sons there enjoying that performance by their father tonight. Anderson Silva gets his first win since 2012 tonight. Brooklyn Nets point guard Germaine in the building tonight. This is his home, Barclays Center, much of the year. And perhaps the most interested observer for our Featherweight Championship fight tonight, Chris Cyborg, making the trip to New York City earlier today. And coming up next, the final act, but the first in the history of the UFC Women's Featherweight division. 15 months ago, Holm took out Ronda Rousey to become the Bantamweight queen. Tonight, with a steely determination, she vies to become a two-division champion, but in her way, and equally determined, enter the Iron Lady, Germaine de Randamie, 46-0 in professional Muay Thai. She has rounded out her MMA game tonight with a wave of confidence. She'll try to bring a UFC championship home to Holland. And now a message from Ice Cube and Charlie Day, the stars of the hilarious new comedy Fist Fight, in theaters everywhere, February 17th.
To promote our new movie, Fist Fight, Charlie is going to get in the octagon with UFC badass Nate Diaz.
That's right. Wait, what?
While my co-star get knocked out.
You ain't gonna help you, Charlie.
Nate, come on. Take a look at this. I'm gonna fight you.
You know, you're talking crazy.
Can't we just let this thing go? Strickland!
Mr. Strickland was fired today and blames me.
You got a job and I don't.
Get up! Okay. You gotta help me out. Another teacher is trying to beat me up. Yeah. Well, don't point.
And stand up. What you got?
Go sleep. Night.
I'm from the streets. Trust me when I tell you, drop it like it's hot and pick it up when it's cold.
I don't understand a word of that.
Fist Fight, rated R.
It is now time for the Holm de Randamie main event, which is brought to you by Halo Wars 2, available February 21st on Xbox One and Windows 10. Get the Ultimate Edition and play 4 days early. Two of the greatest female strikers in combat sports history will finally meet as Holly Holm faces Germaine de Randamie for the right to be crowned the first UFC Women's Featherweight Champion.
Everybody has a plan until they get hit in the face.
Ronda's in trouble. She's hurt. Oh! Holly looking to finish. She's out.
A fight can change in a split second. One tiny mistake and the fight is over.
Misha's got her neck. She's got it. She's tapping. Amanda Nunes is the first female Brazilian UFC champion.
I think the world hasn't seen the best yet.
It's it. It's all over.
I don't really care what my fight does for the sport. I care about the win. But in turn, I think that is good for the sport. Now I get to do something nobody else has had the opportunity to do.
When Holly Holm faces Germaine de Randamie for the inaugural UFC Women's Featherweight Championship, you have arguably the two most decorated strikers to ever compete in mixed martial arts. In Holly Holm, you have an 18-time world boxing champion, and Germaine de Randamie is 46-0 in Muay Thai and a 10-time world Muay Thai champion.
I love to brawl. The UFC will see something they've never seen before.
This is a new start. It's definitely different emotions, definitely a different scenario.
Who would have thought that I would get a title shot? That I would make it to a UFC main event, the second event in New York? I know this is my one and only chance. Where everybody doubted me, I made it, and I'm gonna fight for the UFC belt.
If I had my perfect world, I would have the 145-pound belt and the 135-pound belt. If you have dreams, my dad always says aim high.
I'm willing to sacrifice everything for the UFC belt.
This is history. People are going to be talking about this fight.
We march on.
spotlight about as graciously as one can. Now tonight, carrying the pride of an entire nation, the Iron Lady Germaine de Randamie will look to become the first Dutch UFC champion since the Hall of Famer boss ridden in 1999. Capture this moment for Germaine de Randamie as she tries to change her life forever.
What's interesting to me about this fight is not just that you're looking at two of the most decorated strikers to ever compete in MMA, but that this is the type of fight where Germaine de Randamie, at least on paper, should shine against a fellow striker. My question is going to be, what tactics does Holly Holm employ against Germaine de Randamie? That's the big question, because the big question is not whether or not de Randamie is going to take Holly Holm down. She's not even going to think about doing that. Right. She's going to try to blast her. She's going to try to blast her. She's going to try to knee her, kick her, punch her, elbow her, use those Muay Thai skills that got her to 46-0, 10-time world Muay Thai champion. And that's one of the nastiest strikers to ever compete in women's combat sports. Make no mistake about it. This woman has knocked out men in a boxing match.
When you think of the teams, you think that the background of the Jacksons team has more of a reputation for developing a certain game plan for a fighter.
Right.
So when you say Holly Holm may look for takedowns or something, you know, but you don't believe Germaine will. When Germaine was training,
Germaine de Randamie gracing the prep point, brought to you by Halo Wars 2, available February 21st on Xbox One and Windows 10. Get the Ultimate Edition and play 4 days early.
when Germaine was training at AKA with us, we had a U.S. Olympian in Taekwondo come in, and she wanted to spar with our best girl fighter. So we threw her in there with Germaine. Taekwondo, they want to and punch each other in the chest. Germaine blasted her with one leg kick, and she stopped and goes, "What in the world was that?" She goes, I go, "That's Germaine de Randamie, the Muay Thai world champion. You asked for it, you got it." And Germaine blasted her, and she never came back in the room. That's Germaine de Randamie.
Yeah, as far as striking credentials go and ability, she's just absolutely nasty. But her problems inside the octagon have been grappling.
Yes.
Right. What was that like in camp?
You know, she actually came to every practice. She tried every time to get better in these areas, and it did look better in her last fight.
First 5-round fight for Germaine de Randamie tonight under the lights in Brooklyn. Before becoming a superstar in mixed martial arts, tonight Joe Rogan, Holly Holm making the walk to the octagon for what will be her third UFC championship fight.
This is also the only time in Holly Holm's career where she's coming off of 2 losses in a row. Albeit losses against some very talented opposition. She was submitted by Miesha Tate, and after that she lost a 5-round unanimous decision to the incredibly talented Valentina Shevchenko, who's one of the best 135-pounders in the world. So you got to wonder where Holly's head is at coming in here. You also got to wonder what the 145-pound weight class is going to do for her performance. It is quite possible that draining her body to 135 pounds was severely impacting her performance. She came off that career-changing, life-changing, spectacular performance against Ronda Rousey, lost 2 in a row, and now jumped at the opportunity to compete at 145 pounds. One of the things about Holly is, in boxing, she competed as high as, I believe, 152 pounds. So this is not a new thing for her, and maybe a more healthy thing for her.
Holly Holm was inducted into the International Women's Boxing Hall of Fame. When I tell you that these two women are accomplished in their chosen sports, that is not an understatement. When I say that tonight we will crown the greatest female combat sports athlete of all time, that is not an overstatement. You have a 10-time world champion over here. You have a 17, 18-time world champion over here. And if Holly Holm wins this fight tonight, she will have 2 titles in the UFC in multiple divisions.
And Holly has said she is chasing the win tonight, not the championship belt, but that is what's at stake. The tail to tape for the main event is brought to you by Ultimate Beastmaster, where tapping out isn't an option. February 24th, only on Netflix. Holly Holm, 35 years old. Germaine de Randamie is 32. De Randamie 1 inch taller. She will have a 2-inch reach advantage. Now to get to the introductions for the main event, here is Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. Presented by Halo Wars 2, sanctioned by the New York State Athletic Commission, interim chairwoman Ndidi Masay. Our 3 judges scoring this contest at Octagon side are Sally Amato, Chris Lee, and Jeff Mullen. And when the action begins, our referee in charge of the Octagon, Todd Anderson. This bout is sponsored by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. Metro PCS. Get a fast nationwide 4G LTE network for only $30 period. Wireless, figured out. And Halo Wars 2, available February 21st on Xbox One and Windows 10. Get the unlimited edition and play 4 days early. And now, this is the moment UFC fans watching around the world have been waiting for. Live from the sold-out Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. It's time! 5 rounds for the undisputed UFC Featherweight Championship of the world. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a Muay Thai kickboxer holding a professional record, 6 wins, 3 losses. She stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing in at 143 and 1/2 pounds. Fighting out of Utrecht, the Netherlands, presenting Germaine, the Iron Lady, Randamie. And now introducing her opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a kickboxer holding a professional record, 10 wins, 2 losses. She stands 5 feet 8 inches tall, weighing in at 145 pounds. Fighting out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, presenting a former UFC Bantamweight champion, Holly, the Preacher's Daughter,
Ladies, we gone over the rules in the back. Protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands at all times. If you wish to touch gloves, do so now. Step back.
Here we go, UFC history tonight, Barclays Center, Brooklyn, New York. Germaine de Randamie and Holly Holm. Only one woman leaves as the first UFC featherweight champion in UFC history.
You ready? Hey!
And with that touch of the gloves, we are underway. Germaine de Randamie, orthodox fighter in blue. The southpaw Holly Holm is in white.
You see the difference in their stances already. Holly on her toes, Germaine flat-footed, Muay Thai kind of walking her down. You know, that's a difference in the styles. Interesting to see how it plays out as this fight progresses.
Yeah, Holly has a much more American kickboxing style, and right away, Germaine with a right kick to the body. I'm really curious to see whether or not Holly employs any grappling, because that has been the issue with Germaine.
Yes.
And I'm really curious as to what kind of training Germaine has done in preparation for Holly, and whether or not she has anticipated that possibility.
You know, when Holly Holm is at her best, you know, we talked about this in the back, you know, it's mostly whenever she's countering, you know, and Germaine is going to oblige her by going forward and trying to attack her.
But she's not going to do so recklessly. She's not going to just run at her and provide big openings.
Yeah.
She's going to take her time and use her massive experience, because this, as long as Holly doesn't try to take this fight to the ground, this is essentially a kickboxing fight.
Yes.
Right. And there's not a whole lot of women that have ever walked the face of the planet that can kickbox with Germaine Randamie.
Holm lands the leg kick there to the lead leg of Germaine Randamie. You do wonder if Holly would consider shooting at any point in time. She has worked for Izzy Martinez for years. Jiu-Jitsu coach Rafael de Freitas certainly would have an advantage there if the fight does go to the canvas.
Well, look at the stance of Germaine. Nice and straight up. No worry whatsoever about the takedown so far. She's fighting Muay Thai right now.
Yes.
And if you let Germaine Randamie fight Muay Thai, you're letting her fight her style.
You're engaging.
Oh, beautiful
right
shot.
Yep.
She caught her clean.
You're engaging her where she's best if you allow her to fight a Muay Thai type of fight.
And she's also aware that Holly had a big problem with Valentina Shevchenko, who fights in a very similar way, although from the southpaw stance.
Yes.
Prevailing wisdom was that Germaine Randamie would have the decided power advantage tonight.
Oh, yeah. No doubt about it. But that doesn't mean that Holly doesn't have nasty power, especially with her kicks. She tagged her with the right hand again.
When she goes, Germaine really explodes into her punches.
Well, her positioning and her distance control is amazing. And when she's not worrying about being taken down, you get to see how good she really is. There's a lot of people that have severely underestimated how good Randamie is because people have taken her down and wrestled her before. And she's just not that good at that. And DC, you could speak to that.
Yeah, Holly's doing a great job of actually throwing that left hand and then following with the right leg kick. She's landed it 3-4 times. But yeah, Germaine is actually able to be close enough. There you go with the counter left hook right there by Randamie. And as the fight progresses, if she starts to get right hand, left hook by Randamie, yes.
She tagged it twice there, the right hand and the left hook.
Yes, and as the fight goes on, if Holly allows her to keep getting comfortable, kicks will start to follow those combinations.
And effortless control of distance by Randamie. She's catching her with that leg kick, but she's slapping her with the foot.
Well, immediately following the main event, don't miss a recap of all tonight's action on the FS1 UFC 208 post-fight show. Coming up on FS1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go for those watching in Canada, TSN.
Beautiful counter right hand by Randamie. Just, again, beautiful control of the distance. You see that control? That just slides back and throws that piston right hand.
Holly reach. Yeah, Holly has that habit of actually blitzing with like 3-4 punches, and I think they've trained for it. They've trained for that combination, that right hand, straight left hand, and then the kick that follows. So Randamie's actually countering when Holly goes forward.
Randamie continuing to move forward, close the distance, under a minute now to go round one.
Holly is landing strikes though. I mean, she is not.
Oh, there it is.
There goes your takedown.
Oh, look at this. Randamie goes for the chop.
Randamie came in with a takedown defense north of 80%. Granted, small sample size, but so far so good.
Holly attacks that single leg. Germaine's doing a good job. Great balance to actually stay upright right now.
Well, now at least she understands that the threat of the takedown is a real possibility.
Now the issue is, Joe, is that Holly isn't a wrestler. How does her body respond to all the wrestling positions that she's not used to?
Right. And whether or not this affects her ability to fight off the strikes. There's a nice knee to the body there by Randamie. Very interesting first round.
Close round. Very close first round.
In a round, who win the round?
Big breath for me.
Here's some water. I want you to take it anytime you want.
We got 2 clinches per round. 2 clinches for 3 clinches per round. In case you win the round.
And money steps
Just
right
to
money.
the
We go pocket outside. She wants the counter and she's looking for the big leg kick. That's it. She's looking for a straight right and a leg kick. Straight right and a leg kick. That's it. All right. So we can't be there. So I want you to end with your jab on your punches so she can't counter. Let over die drijvende toon aan. Als je in de clinch komt, vang je overhoek. Ja? Dan kan ze niks doen. Ze wacht, ik wil hier door. Super. Heb vertrouwen in jezelf.
Je doet het echt supergoed. En ze kerel, ze komt ze gewoon halen.
I don't hear what you're saying.
Man, als je contact maakt, geen trappen.
Dat
Shows Germaine to be the slightly more accurate fighter in round one. Holly Holm, the more active fighter. Got to think a pretty good sign for Randamie with the takedown defense holding up. And if she was feeling any pressure in advance of this first UFC championship opportunity, she has not showed it at all during fight week, and certainly not tonight. Round two underway.
Well, both women have a tremendous amount of world title fight experience. Holly inside the octagon and Randamie outside.
Right back on that combination that she was going with the first one.
But again, she's catching her at the very end of that with the foot, whereas Randamie just slammed the shin into the inner thigh meat. Big difference in the way it impacts. Holly's kind of catching her at the very end of things.
On the right hand.
Yeah, beautiful.
She is just barely sliding out of the way and then returning.
And there's so much more danger involved in what Randamie is doing. That's where Holly shines, with those high kicks. And I would like to see Holly throw that high kick behind those punches.
Looked like that straight right from Randamie got Holm's attention. Head strikes. Germaine in control there. Nice 1-2 by Holly Holm.
Front leg side kick to the thigh. Holly is excellent at that. And also that oblique kick. That whole Winklejohn crew utilizes that kick so well.
Randamie is really sitting down every time Holly goes to enter. You see her level change and she's sitting on her punches. Look at that. Every time, look at that. Every time Holly feints, she sits down and looking to counter. Yeah, she's looking to really get some damage off on her when she goes first.
Oh, look at that. And there it is. Just serious sting behind that punch.
Randamie very efficient with her striking attack here through 7 minutes or so.
She's going mostly counter.
Yeah, and you just see the way she's moving. She just epitomizes that Muay Thai style. Whereas Holly,
good by Holly.
Nice knee to the body there by Holly.
Those knees up.
Good by Holly to actually cause some wrestling positions, because even if she doesn't score the takedown here, maybe the arms will start to blow up. Germaine will start to tire because the 5-round experience advantage belongs to Holly Holm.
Absolutely.
The clinch is where Randamie does some of her best work if she can get some separation. Fighting for hooks here as we bring in Holly Holm's coaches.
Keep flanking! Keep flanking! Keep pummeling! Watch your side step! Watch your cross trip! There it is! Drag her foot off the cage! Let's keep pummeling here! Drop to that double, girl!
Izzy Martinez calling for a drop to the double here. We'll see if Holm obliges.
I think you have a really good point, DC, that this is not her style, and how is her body going to respond to this?
Yeah, when you haven't done it your entire life. You know, even guys that are lifetime wrestlers start to tire as the fight goes long with a lot of wrestlers. You know, Holly's a boxer. She's trained wrestling as she's gotten older. You don't know how that's going to affect her cardio. But now her hands are getting locked behind Germaine's butt here.
Randamie, yep. Randamie.
Now here she needs to clear this.
Beautiful knee to the body. And her knees in the clinch are outstanding. And Holly aware of that, and she's throwing her own up. And there's another one by Randamie. And another one.
Randamie does a nice job creating angles for those knees. Very
but
technical.
Now Holly did a great job of getting her back up against the clinch. And there's that thigh punch that we talked about.
So what was the cost? You know, you got a few knees off, but now you're back with your back against the side of the octagon.
So you feel like she should have separated.
If you're the better striker, you separate once you get off the fence.
Let's see if she decides to do that now. So she's got it again.
Yep.
But again, she's trying for the plum. She's trying for that Muay Thai. Oh, beautiful knees to the body. Beautiful. Those are strong.
Randamie back to the fence, under a minute here to go round two.
Uh-oh, Holly's got her back almost.
Look at Germaine using the fence to try to scrape Holly off and go back to the under. Good job by Randamie. Way to use that fence to actually scrape your back across to get back flat, get it from behind you.
It's going to be interesting to see how this grueling style affects both fighters as we get into the third.
Holly needs to get look at that. She's taking some big knees whenever Germaine is able to actually turn her and get some space.
They're so crisp too.
But Holly's doing good, though. She's managed to close the distance, actually put Germaine in this grueling type of fight.
And she may be the slightly smaller woman, but appears to be the stronger woman in the clinch thus far.
She's doing that by staying in better position.
Oh! Oh, no! Oh, that was after the bell.
That was late.
That was late, and it was hard. And that clearly wobbled Holly. That is not good.
They got to get some ice on her head, maybe pour a little water over the top of her head to actually cool her down and try to get her right.
Let's hear this in real time. That's so late.
Chad Mendes, Jose Aldo. That's what that reminds me of.
Right?
Yeah, it might be worse than that. It might be later than that. That's a really late shot.
Mike Winklejohn not happy, obviously. Todd Anderson, the referee.
What do you got? Commit to it, girl. That's all I got to say. You just got to commit to it and go.
But you're winning the kickboxing, you're winning the wrestling.
I mean, DC, your thoughts on that? Because she might be out on her feet heading in here in the third round.
That's what I was going to ask you, Joe. Like, what do you do? What can the referee do to actually make this right?
Well, you got to. She said she's sorry, but man, what doesn't mean anything, man. Who knows? That was the most devastating shot of the fight. It was illegal.
Yep.
It was illegal.
Germaine Randamie apologizing there. Todd Anderson, the referee, did go over to the Randamie's corner.
It doesn't mean anything, though, because the damage has already been done, and it could easily change the fight. Holly could be severely compromised now. That was a devastating elbow.
Yeah.
You saw her wobble, and she got whacked.
So some controversy injected into the middle of this inaugural UFC Women's Featherweight Championship fight. Round 3 here of a possible 5. We'll see how Holm responds.
With those late strikes like that, if they are fight-changing strikes like that, referee has to step in and I mean,
take a point.
Take a point at worst case, you know.
I'm being told that it was a punch and not an elbow. I thought it was an elbow.
Okay.
Maybe I'm a little caught up in it.
Every time she blitzes, she sits back on that right hand.
Under 4 minutes here to go, round 3. Holm again pressing forward here.
Well, what do you do in that kind of a situation? You don't want to stop the fight.
No.
Holly will tell you she's fine. But it was just, I think you got to take a point away.
You have to level it, right? You have to level it after a foul.
You make it right.
With such a big shot that landed.
Right.
Well, Holly seems to have at least partially recovered, but, you know, we don't know. And we won't know until she really gets tagged again.
That's what I was going to say. Until she takes another big shot, she'll seem okay.
Head strikes 32-4 for Germaine Randamie thus far as we approach the 3-minute mark here, round 3.
Beautiful combination there. She missed with that right, but landed that hard leg kick behind it.
And that's what starts happening. As she starts to find her range, the kicks will start to come after those punches. Look at her throwing that right hand when Holly blitzes. Holly's got to be very careful as she enters. She might want to enter with a kick first now because Germaine is trying to time those punches as she goes in.
Yo, that's a big, long reach from the outside. And particularly if she wants to land a kick, she might want to land a side kick.
Yes.
Something unusual that Randamie doesn't see a lot of.
Yes.
Because Holly's got a very good side kick, and that'll at least give her some distance and leave her head much further back.
Holm still appears partially committed to the takedown, 0 for 4 on her attempts thus far. Holly continues to circle towards that power right of Randamie.
Oh, beautiful kick to the body.
Good combination by Randamie.
She gets that foot off the canvas to the target very quickly.
Very nice leg kick there by Holly. But Randamie to the inside.
Remarkable what Holly Holm has accomplished. Turned pro in 2011, only went full-time in MMA in 2013.
Randamie just walking her down here.
Doesn't seem like she has the most respect for the power of Holly Holm right now.
Oh, there was a nice leg kick there by Holly. That one landed hard on the shin. And now she's got the clinch right in front of us. Double underhooks. Almost. And
Good defense by Randamie.
Yeah, and she's framing her off with that right elbow. Look for those knees to start landing. Oh, good left hook.
Oh yeah, good left hook in there.
Got to be somewhat discouraging for Holly Holm. That appeared to be her best opportunity thus far to get this fight to the ground. Randamie not having it.
Looking for the spin. Almost gave her a
right hand.
Now you're seeing some legitimate swelling on that left eye of Holly Holm, at least to the left side of it.
Yeah, right there.
Total strikes advantage Randamie.
If that swelling continues, she's going to have a very difficult time seeing that right hand come.
Yes. And that's Germaine's best shot.
Well, and every time Holly goes to that lead leg kick, Randamie greets her with a right hand.
You know, it seems like when Holly goes to feint, she kind of has that exhale, makes that sound. It's almost like she's got to tell, I'm coming, you know, because she's doing that little exhale. It's a boxing thing, but...
Oh, beautiful! Oh! Oh, man, she did it again! Take a point away!
He's got to.
You've got to take a point away!
He's got to. He's got to this time.
That happens again. We're looking at a point.
Oh, my God. You've got to take a point away now! Let's hear this again, in real time. 100%. Take a point away. 100%.
What is this referee doing? You can't say it happens again.
Someone's got to talk to that referee. It happens again, she might be flat on her back unconscious.
And you could argue there were 2 strikes after the horn.
You would argue. That's it, right? But meanwhile, Holly landed that beautiful question mark kick. She snuck it in there and then almost landed the second head kick when Randamie was going down. You already told her. That means nothing. It means literally nothing.
So just a warning from Todd Anderson for the second consecutive round.
All right, I'm getting in as quick as I can.
Well,
no more. Understood?
Todd Anderson saying he's getting in as quick as he can. He chooses not to take a point away. We now go to the championship rounds, round 4. Holly Holm and Germaine Randamie here for the featherweight title.
I can completely understand that she's caught up in the moment. And especially after getting tagged, she wants to come back. But when the buzzer goes off, that's it.
But that's what it is, Joe. You know, for a high-level kickboxer like that, to get kicked in the head, probably a little embarrassed, a little upset, so she wants to go and get her back. But there are rules.
Right, particularly for her, because she did it already.
Holm staying composed and offensive here.
Yep, and really pushing the pace now. Holly's really setting the pace in this fight.
Well, Holly should be angry now.
Right.
You know, and maybe that's going to help her. She's been fouled twice.
And these rounds are close. They are close rounds.
Well, that certainly was. That was a big moment in that fight. That head kick rocked her. She goes down to one hand.
It's working. We're coming out.
And this is where Holly has the advantage as we get into the championship round.
Well, Holm has continued to mix it up. Maybe a level change here. 5 takedown attempts thus far. None have been secured for Holm.
But at the very least, she's making Randamie do what she doesn't want to do. Grapple, clinch. And she's making her do uncomfortable movements that she's not conditioned for. This is not her normal thing.
She's not used to it.
Yeah, as long as she keeps Randamie in the center of the octagon and kickboxes her, that's Randamie's world. But this is very different.
This ref wants to step in bad, too. Look at him. Look at him. He's been stepping forward and back over and over again. He wanted to go in bad.
3 minutes to go in round 4.
Well, New York, obviously, does not have a whole lot of experience in championship fights. And that's something that we're seeing highlighted by this event. I mean, that will change. They have a great history of combat sports, of course, but MMA, obviously, has only been here for a year.
Yeah.
Nice inside leg kick by Randamie.
You're seeing some of Randamie's work to those legs of Holly Holm. Swelling inside and out.
Nice jab.
Holly continuing to be the more active fighter. Randamie, the slightly more effective fighter, at least statistically.
I think you're totally right with that. That's the ki, the tell that she does right before she throws the shots. She's doing them before she throws them.
Before she throws, when she feints, everything comes behind her exhale. But she's far more active. She's just constantly throwing something.
Oh, beautiful kick.
Holm closing the distance once again. This is the fourth round of the MMA career of Germaine Randamie.
Holly's really working hard to try and get down on that single leg, but Germaine's doing a very good job of digging 2 underhooks and not allowing Holly to actually secure the leg close to her body. So although she has her hands on the leg, she cannot get it close to her body to try and finish the takedown.
And perhaps fatigue starting to set in for Randamie. Mouth open, not a great look. Just over a minute here to go round 4. And Holm's pace has not waned.
She's taking some big, deep breaths. Good use of the head there by Holm.
Yep, she's doing a great job of head fighting in there. Head under the chin.
Good flank, good flank. Left ear tight, left ear tight, left ear tight, chin tight. Pummel, pummel, pummel.
That's Izzy Martinez, the wrestling coach. She wants her to get that head and connect it to Randamie's face. Make her uncomfortable, push her head back. Make it difficult for her to move her upper body correctly. She's trying hard. Nice knee to the body by Randamie.
Randamie visibly frustrated, looking for the referee.
Every time there's space, every time there's space, Randamie gets off good knees. But Holly's doing a good job of controlling. Oh, good knee. Another one.
End of the round here. We'll see if we get any more drama. So for a 3rd consecutive fight, Holly Holm will see a 5th round.
Adam.
Breathe.
Naar de montage. Nog een keer naar de montage. Hij staat.
We gaan iets meer actie maken. Ja. Weer de combinaties wat meer achter elkaar te gooien. Denk je?
You have to make the combination.
1, 2, binnenkantje, hup. 1, we hoeven geen 10 zo te zijn.
1, 2, go.
Perfect. In en uit. Bam, bam,
Perfect.
Bam,
in and out.
Top.
Bang, bang.
Als je het tegen wordt, dubbel.
Okay, that simple transition will open up to your doubles.
Okay. Just knock her out, all right? You're going to find a steak 9 whips or 9 whips, all right? Okay. 922s, and if you're kickboxing, I do not want you to stand there and punch, okay? You're not standing there and punch to win this fight.
Watch this. Emergência, Bruno, girl. Emergência.
So we have 5 minutes remaining to decide who will be the first UFC Women's Featherweight Champion. DC, you can speak to going into the 5th round of a championship fight. Sometimes the body maybe won't do what the mind wants it to, but when the outcome hangs in the balance, what is the approach here for these 2 fighters?
They've got to lay it all on the line here. You know, it could potentially be 2 rounds apiece. You know, Holly fought well in the last round. She got that head kick off in the round before, so you never really know what's happening on the scorecard. But they've got to be more active. Both of them have to show the judges, leave that impression as they walk to the octagon after the fight is over.
It's very, very difficult to call a fight and score a fight at the same time.
Right.
So in order to score it, I really think you have to do it in total silence. Sit there with a pen and a piece of paper and mark down key significant moments. But it's certainly a close fight, and certainly we've seen some weird judging.
Holm would appear to be the fresher fighter here. It's the 4th consecutive UFC fight for her that's been scheduled for 5 rounds. once again, Holm just out of range. Randamie returns fire, lands with a right.
But it seems like every time Randamie actually throws, the punches are landing and the kicks are landing, but it seems like the strikes don't come in bunches as Holly strikes come in bunches.
Yeah, Holly is throwing much more volume, but Randamie has much more impact. And she's like connecting. Oh, is that a headbutt?
She hurt her.
What'd she hit her with?
She hurt her with the left hand. Yep. And you're seeing a cut now above the left eyebrow of Holly Holm.
Big left hand. Oh, she clipped her right on the jaw with the left hand.
That perhaps the most significant strike of the fight on either side.
Randamie could still be in trouble here.
Yes.
Holly should separate.
She should separate and go back to striking.
Not sure if it was a clash of heads that opened up that cut from Holly Holm or just a trigger of damage.
It was after the punch, the heads came together.
You gotta wonder if Holly knows how bad she hurt Randamie.
Right. She'll know
she's looking for the takedown here.
She's gonna get this one.
0 for 8 for Holm on her takedown attempts thus far. Holm continues to work here late in the fight.
You hear Holly's coaches saying, disengage, Holly.
Disengage.
Holm's got the body lock, thus preventing the referee from stepping in. Now she loses it, and he steps in.
There he goes. Look at all the blood.
She's still hurt. Randamie may still be hurt.
Nice leg kick by Holly.
Right hand counter by Randamie.
Nice leg kick by Holm after Randamie landed the right again. Under 2 minutes to decide this title fight. And again, Holly able to touch Germaine up top. Back to the clinch we go. One underhook here for Holly.
You hear the coaches telling her to kickbox. They must feel like she's behind. Get back to striking. Her coaches are yelling, get back to striking.
Well, they realize how much she was hurt. And I don't think Holly realizes how much she hurt her.
But you can't deny at least the output and the activity of Holly Holm. She has thrown far more strikes. She has attempted 8 takedowns. Randamie, though, very effective with her strikes tonight, landing 73% of her total strikes unofficial. 40 seconds to go.
It's interesting when the referee chooses to separate them and when he doesn't. It looks like he wants to. Get in there, dude. You know you want to.
He does. Yes, he does.
Got a little protest from Randamie, but Todd Anderson remains.
Oh, there's a nice knee by Randamie. 15 to go.
15 seconds. Oh, nice left hook.
Wow, the referee was in between them before the bell went off.
So Germaine Randamie and Holly Holm go the full 25 minutes in this inaugural UFC Women's Featherweight Championship fight. We await the scorecards to see who goes into UFC annals as the first UFC Featherweight champion.
Wow.
Fan voting tells an interesting story, Joe.
Interesting. 74-26 for Holm. That's interesting. DC, do you agree with that?
No, I don't actually. I think it's a lot closer. The rounds were close, you know, but early in the fight it seemed as though Germaine was winning. She was doing more damage. But as the fight went on, Holly Holm actually started to gain steam.
Well, Holly Holm with the big head kick that knocked her down, and then in the next round clipped her with that left hand.
This fight replay brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you.
And there you see a nice right hand. Oh, that was the right hand after the bell.
And that was Winkle John getting understandably upset. And those are legit punches, a right and a left behind it.
But this is, you saw a lot of this during the fight. You saw a lot of big right hands by Randamie.
Look at
that nice high kick by Holly Holm.
But this is the illegal punches after the bell. And there it is. Clipped her with the left hand. Oh, here it is. Boom. That's the one. Really buckled her. She went down to one knee, and she was legitimately hurt there. Perhaps the most hurt either fighter had been in the entire fight. And especially considering the fact that that was a legal shot.
Yes.
Versus the one time where Holly was definitely wobbled was an illegal shot.
So Germaine de Randamie, the first Dutch woman in the UFC, and trying to become the second UFC champion from Holland. You see the head strikes, advantage de Randamie, 87-16, also led in body strikes. Leg strikes go to Holly Holm, and certainly in terms of the clinch control time, that's where much of this fight played out. Advantage Holm there. She was unable to secure a takedown on 8 attempts, but a very competitive, tactical championship fight as expected between Germaine de Randamie and Holly Holm. Scores being compiled as we speak. Chris Cyborg is in the building watching intently. There is Chris Cyborg. Came in today. Strong possibility she will be next for the woman who is crowned the first UFC featherweight champion. The official decision is brought to you by Metro PCS. Get a fast nationwide 4G LTE network for only $30 period. Wireless figured out. One final time tonight, here's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 5 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for decision. All 3 judges score this contest 48-47 for the winner by unanimous decision. And now, the new undisputed UFC featherweight champion of the world, Germaine, the Iron Lady, de Randamie.
Germaine de Randamie is the UFC Women's Featherweight Champion. She's standing by here with Joe Rogan. What a moment for Holland and for Germaine de Randamie tonight in Brooklyn, New York. A dream realized by the 32-year-old Germaine de Randamie.
All right, I am here with the winner. Go ahead and get your shirt on here. I'm here with the winner and new UFC featherweight champion, Germaine de Randamie. Germaine, first of all, congratulations. And give us your thoughts on the fight and how you feel it went.
It was a close fight. She catch me in the 3rd round with the head kick. It was close, but I came to fight, and she didn't want to fight me. I'm a brawler, I want to fight. But, Nederland, I'm sorry, I'll put this in Dutch. Nederland, you have a UFC champion!
Now, Germaine, there were 2 unfortunate moments at the end of the round where the buzzer had gone off and you landed shots after the fight. After the round. What was going on there?
It is in the heat of the moment. I apologize. The referee told me, first time he told me, he says, it was still on the buzz. It wasn't meant for me to hit her after the bell. You know, it was in the heat of the moment. I apologize. I'm not like that.
Now, and also in 2 moments of the fight, you got caught with the head kick, and you also got caught with a straight left hand. How badly were you hurt, if at all?
You cannot knock me out like that. Come on. She hit me with the head kick. It was a good head kick, but I kept fighting. You know, I landed shots after that.
Did you anticipate how much clinching she was going to do?
No, I hoped she was going to fight with me. You know, Holly is a tremendous champion. I truly respect her. But I love to brawl, I love to fight. Clinching is not my game, but hey, whatever.
Now you're the champion, and there's one very clear contender that looms in the background, and that is Chris Cyborg. In many people's eyes, she is the only real big challenge for you at 145 pounds. Give us your thoughts on the potential meeting with her.
You know, I want to fight everybody. If Chris Cyborg is the one I have to fight, I'll fight her. Right now, I really need surgery on my hand. I'm going to get surgery on my hand, and let's see after.
What's wrong with your hand?
I torn ligaments in my hand and in my fight with Larissa Pachenko. So, yeah, I need to get that fixed first.
Well, good luck with your surgery. Congratulations on your victory, and we look forward to seeing you defending your title.
Thank you. I want to say something. I want to thank the fans. Brooklyn, it's been an honor. Thank you so much. I want to thank my friends and family. I love you, my team. I love you guys. And it doesn't matter. Nederland, jullie hebben een UFC kampioen.
Germaine de Randamie, ladies and gentlemen.
If you ain't Dutch, you ain't much. Germaine de Randamie, the first UFC champion from Holland since Bas Rutten in 1999. Interesting, if there had been a point deduction, we could have been looking at a draw. But Germaine de Randamie is the UFC Women's Featherweight Champion. What a night of fights it has been here in Brooklyn. UFC 208 Holm versus de Randamie has been brought to you by Exotics Racing. Drive supercars on a racetrack from $199 in Las Vegas and Los Angeles. And Ultimate Beastmaster, where tapping out isn't an option. February 24th, only on Netflix.
UFC Fight Night. Travis Browne is determined to fight his way back to the top.
Incredible fight! Incredible fight!
But he's got to get through Derek the Black Beast Lewis first.
That is one frightening individual.
Lewis, Brown, plus Johnny Hendricks steps up to the middleweight division to take on Hector Lombard.
Got rocked!
UFC Fight Night, February 19th on FS1.
FS1 UFC Fight Night, Joe Rogan next Sunday. Derek the Black Beast Lewis and Travis Browne under the lights.
A very, very interesting fight and a very important fight, particularly for Travis Browne, who was one of the most promising heavyweights in the world at one point in time, and Derek Lewis, a guy who's been on a great win streak. And of course, you have Johnny Hendricks, the former champion who desperately wants to get back in the game, taking on a really dangerous Hector Lombard at 185 pounds.
I'm excited about those top two fights, man, but also Paul Felder's always fun. And the Olympic silver medalist, Sarah McMahon, back in the octagon. I cannot wait for those fights next weekend.
The great Joe Rogan, the UFC light heavyweight champ Daniel Cormier. Fellas, thank you. Outstanding job tonight. Here's what's coming up inside the octagon. Next Sunday, the UFC returns to Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada with a heavyweight headliner as Derek the Black Beast Lewis battles Travis Browne. It's an FS1 UFC Fight Night on Sunday, February 19th with the main card beginning at 9 p.m. Eastern. Then the UFC action in March kicks off with a must-see pay-per-view card as the champion Tyron Woodley runs it back with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson for the welterweight title. Plus, Khabib Nurmagomedov squares off against Tony Ferguson for the interim UFC Lightweight Championship. It's UFC 209, March 4th, 10 in the East, 7 in the West. The following week, Saturday, March 11th, it's UFC Fight Night Belfort versus Gastelum from Fortaleza, Brazil, only on FS1. And the final UFC card of March, live and exclusive on UFC Fight Pass from London, England. The light heavyweight main event features two rising contenders as the UK's own Jimmy Manuwa locks horns with Corey Anderson. Main card 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. And you can watch the UFC 208 post-fight press conference at UFC.com. The FS1 UFC 208 post-fight show with Karen Bryant, Kenny Florian, Misha Tate, and Megan O'Leary is already underway on FS1. For those watching in Canada, you can flip it over to TSN as soon as we're done. The executive producers of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, UFC President Dana White, Ari Emanuel, and Patrick Whitesole. Our executive vice president of operations and production is Craig Borsari. Coordinating producer is Zach Candido. Tonight's show has been produced by Bruce Connell and directed by Anthony Pasquale Giordano. Technical producer Alan Connell. Our senior vice president of talent relations is Sean Shelby. Tremendous pay-per-view tonight. Glover Teixeira taking care of business. Then they pass the baton to Jacare Souza and Tim Boetsch. Jacare with the win by Kimura to preserve his status as one of the top 2 or 3 middleweights in the world. Karate Hottie in the building tonight. They were all standing as the consensus greatest of all time. Anderson Silva made the walk. He went the full 15 with Derek Brunson. In the end, as determined by the judges, the Spider Silva had done enough to secure his first win since 2012. That set the stage for history. The inaugural UFC Women's Featherweight Championship, Holly Holm and Germaine Randamie. Some controversy in the middle of the fight, but in the end, it was not the activity of Holm, but the effectiveness of Randamie that sealed the win and the championship for her. Perhaps Chris Cyborg will be next.